There we go. Getting a bunch of politicians to simmer down is a really hard thing to do, so kind of fun to do. Welcome to the 15th annual Tri-City meeting for the city of Black Diamond, Covington, and Maple Valley. It is extremely an honor for the city of Maple Valley to host it this year. And it actually has good weather today. They're cooperating right there. People that have their backs to the windows, sorry, you're still on the naughty list. Next year, you might, next three, well, that was basically for her. Yeah. Listen, yep. Okay. Order. So the city of Maple Valley, I think all 7 council members are here. Is that right, Andrew? Anybody missing? 6? Oh, that's right. Councilor Dawson is missing. So Councilor Dawson's on planned vacation. So we have 6 of our council members here.
And we have all 7 of our council members here.
Okay.
And we have all 7 of our council members.
Okay. Who put her up here? I told you.
I moved her name tag.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is do introductions, and we're gonna go around and say who you are, what city you are, and that thing. And the one thing we're gonna ask is, what do you love about your city? A couple of years ago, it was where your favorite vacation was. What do you love about your city? Okay. So, rock, paper, scissors. Who's going first? Carol or
Jeff, ladies first.
Okay.
If she wants.
Oh, that
Always
quick-
have to go first.
quick house cleaning thing really quick is if you have any cell phones, please silence them. If you need to use them, please go out in the hallway. And when for our guests today, when you're using this device right here, it has to be green in order for it to go into the public record. And so if people in the audience that are in virtual world can hear us. If it is not on, they cannot hear you. The deputy mayor knows this because he pulled the audio a few weeks ago to listen to a meeting. So it actually works very well. So please make sure this is green. He's got to push the little button right there. Pretty easy. There's Councilor Schroff will show you guys how to use it. So let's do this. Everybody test it really quick to make sure you know how to work it. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna start this way. What do you love about your city? Come around this way, and then King County Council Member John is first up on the agenda. We're gonna ask him what he loves about King County, and then he'll start his presentation. So.
Okay, I'm Carol Benson, the mayor of Black Diamond, and I love our city because all the people in our city, I love our people.
You can tell it. I'm Dana Parnello. I'm the deputy mayor for the city of Maple Valley. And I mean, first of all, you can, if you're not on the naughty list, you can look at that window and see one of the things I love. But obviously, the people is definitely what it's about. I mean, how can you not?
I'm Sean Smith. I'm the mayor pro tem of Covington, and sticking with the theme, I was going to say I love the residents of Covington's can-do spirit. They are willing to roll their sleeves up and get things done. So happy to be here.
Hello, I am Debbie Page, Black Diamond City Council, position 7. And I too love our residents. They're just so nice. Always willing to lend a hand and jump in and support one another.
Christina Soltis, Covington City Council, position 1. On my campaign trail, I cannot say that I had one terrible encounter, and it was just, it set the tone even from before, but that's why I ran, but to have that confirmed, literally not one home, and there were thousands. So definitely our people.
Nathan Jones, City of Black Diamond. And I noted that the thing that I'm going to say is in each of our city seals, trees, nature. We can look out the window and see the ones here in Maple Valley, but I do not take it for granted that we have such a beautiful natural environment in our city, all 3 of our cities. Thank you.
Les Burberry, Maple Valley City Council. And I think the thing I love about Maple Valley is the community's desire to serve. People are very willing to step up to the plate.
All right, Tammy Dede, Councilmember Black Diamond. And oh my gosh, there's so many things, but growing up in Black Diamond and raising children in Black Diamond, I'll have to say the amenities as far as open space, places to go, to take your kids around the city, and of course, you know, our bakery and all the other great things there, right?
Regan Boley, Covington City Manager, and I love all the traffic we get from Maple Valley and Black Diamond. Yeah. So. No, in truth, I just feel incredibly blessed to have the city council that we have to be able to work with and the staff we have in our organization.
Laura Philpott, I'm the city manager for the city of Maple Valley. And what I love is our farmers market. It is amazing. If you haven't been, you need
It's the
to.
best. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Andrew Dockwag, the city clerk, city of Maple Valley. Thing I love about Maple Valley are all the events we have.
I'm Lindy Johnson, and in response to you, I think that we love the citizens from Covington that come to enjoy our lake.
I'm Beth Porter on the Covington City Council. And one of the things that I've really grown to appreciate lately is just being out and that waving to strangers. There's no Seattle freeze in Covington. It's such a warm community and they want to connect. And I think it's that connectivity that helps keep us moving forward.
I'm Joseph Momos, Covington City Council. And I think I love the most is the adaptability of the residents of Covington and how we are able to just go with the flow and make things work even when it's not always fun. Like last night when we had to leave City Hall to conduct an interview outside in the parking lot instead of in city chambers. We're just an adaptable group.
Never a dull moment. I'm Christiana De Leon, she, her pronouns, position 5 for the Black Diamond City Council. I'm going to reiterate that, yes, we love our green spaces and our parks. I love just the connecting trails around Lake Sawyer. Don't worry if I can't see. I used to actually be an educator in use big words real good. I used to be at Tahoma.
You're from where again? Where are you from?
No.
Covington. Oh.
Yeah, no. So anyway, I was a teacher. I can see in the back of my head, so it's fine. I have eyes in the back of my head. But no, I think otherwise, besides the park, my other huge favorite thing that we haven't mentioned is that we also have the best dogs, because just going off of the people, dogs are the best people. So there you go.
Deanna Pearson, Maple Valley City Council. I'm not sure what the lake looks like because I guess I got in trouble for something I'm not sure about, but yes, exactly. That's what I was told before I applied for the appointment. So for me, it's just, yes, our citizens, but there's this moment of caring for one another, never feeling like strangers. So it doesn't matter if we know one another or not, but we jump in and we help each other. You know, if there's somebody lost, everybody gets on the trail and looks for that individual. So that for me is a sign of very caring and loving and collaborative community. And, you know, it's a good thing to have. So.
Brad Douglas, Black Diamond. As a relatively new resident of Black Diamond, I have to say that I really appreciate the rich history in Black Diamond.
Jennifer Harjahausen, City of Covington. What I love about the City of Covington is the positivity. It is what attracted me to get involved with the city, what has caused me to stay engaged with the city, and I see it everywhere from Fred Meyer to the people we're giving salt away to on Facebook. Like, I mean, it's everywhere, and it's contagious, and it's not necessarily easy to do, but once you embrace it and keep it going, it's something that has a momentum of its own.
Theron Smith, Black Diamond, seat 3, City Council. I like that Black Diamond still has fireworks. The rest of y'all keep banning them. Black Diamond likes to have a good time. That's what I'm gonna say. I like. That's fine. We got a big gravel pit that's supposed to be a grocery store, so there's plenty of room. But no, it is the people. I mean, I'm a transplant from Georgia, so to be, no family, no friends, no history or whatnot. I mean, it is, it's a Stars Hollow-esque in Black Diamond, which is fun and pretty cool. My wife's an educator, so it's definitely small town vibes. Good folks, good people. So yeah, that's me.
Victoria Schroff, Maple Valley City Council. And I think kind of a combination of it's the people and the fact that we're getting bigger, but we still feel small. And there's no better place to enjoy that than at the farmer's market. So I think that's why that's one of the things that drives us all there. And even if you're not from Maple Valley, you kind of feel like you are while you're there, and you always run into people that you know. So that's one of my favorites.
Deborah Hartsock, I go by Debbie, and Covington City Council member. I will echo what everyone is saying about the residents. What I specifically like about our residents is their caring nature. And whenever there's a need, people pull together to help others. I serve on the board for our food bank, and we do food drives, and every time people just come out, and those that can barely give for their own family give to our other residents. So I appreciate their caring nature.
I gotta start a timer.
Yeah, yeah, don't shut it off. Oh, I'll shut it off and yell. How's that? No, Lee Mulvihill, Black Diamond City Council position number 4. I am 4. Yeah, I'm 4. I love the history of Black Diamond, the small town feel, and that everybody is Black Diamond kind.
Good evening, Jeff Wagner, Mayor of Covington. Regan stole mine, but that's fine. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice that I can go into some more stores and see everybody there. So it's great, but I'd say everybody, not just in Covington, but everywhere, everybody out here in Southeast King County has a caring nature, and we all work together to help for the common need. Whenever there's a problem, we get together. And then, sorry, Laura, but we do have the best city manager. So it's a tie, I know.
Sean Kelly, I'm the council member, position number 1, I'm the mayor right now. It's an honor the council selects me as the mayor. And one of the things I appreciate and I love the most about Maple Valley is our staff. They take it, some of this is their second home, which is important. They take pride in the work they do. When they take pride, it shows back into our citizens, because when our citizens feel like they belong and they're welcome, then they get involved in our programs. And we got the director of the chamber here tonight, so that means a lot to us too. So thanks for our staff. And one special thing too is all 3 of our cities work so close together. It doesn't happen very often. We were in a mayor's meeting not too long ago, and there's just, we hear some stories about other cities where we don't have that problem out here. It's because our teams work together, and it's because of all of us. I forgot to do one thing, and the clerk is going to remind me, is we forgot to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we could all please stand while Councilor Johnson leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. And every time I host this thing, I forget something. So we are very honored to have our King County Council member Reagan Dunn on the screen with us today. He's in Washington, D.C. on an assignment for the King County there. He's going to give an update to King County there. And then we've decided is the mayors will, at each city will get one question from one of the mayors. And for the city of Maple Valley, I've delegated it to Deputy Mayor Dana Purnell. So Mayor Benson will get a question, Mayor Wagner, and then Deputy Mayor Purnell will ask 3 questions to the Councilmember Dunn. If you have any other follow-up questions, you can talk to your mayors, and you guys can email them afterwards, or email Cody, his chief of staff. So are we ready to bring Councilmember Dunn over?
Can you hear me, Mr. Mayor?
It's always an honor to have a legendary. So what do you love about King County?
What do I love about King County? Many things, but there's one thing I love, I think is maybe the most important, and it's a person who makes King County better. It's Regan Boley. He's a great American. What? You didn't know this. The day is brighter with Regan, yes. Plus, I like his name. Thanks for having me, mayors, council members. Great to see you. As always, I can't be there back east doing some work, but I've got a PowerPoint presentation. Hopefully the clerk is able to run it for me because I'm a low-tech man in a high-tech world. Let's see. Can you do that? All right, there we go. Thank you so much.
So Councilmember Dunn, just say next screen and Andrew will flip it for you.
What's that?
Just say next screen and he'll flip it for you or next.
All right, thank you, my friend. Thank you. All right. Always great to be here to see this these three towns that you all represent work together in urban island, essentially in the sea of unincorporated area. Gives a lot of unique challenges to governing out there, which you all well know. Next slide, please. I'm going to go through a number of issues and then take those questions, and we're happy to do some offline questions as well. If you have follow-up, we can help provide that as well. So let's go to the next slide if we can. So most importantly, it's the picture there. And you do this long enough, you know how to corral kids with the $25,000 check. The kid with the blue shoes, not happy, doesn't want to be there because Wagner and I are there. Politicians, right? It's scary, but we were proud to distribute that Covington store house $25,000 among other grants, and Jeff has been a great leader for that city. Here's some of the work I'm doing. I'm currently vice chair of the council, working on local services, law and justice, regional water quality committee of the whole, and I'm chairing again this year the King County Flood Control District, which is a pretty good sized district, about $100 million annualized in expenditures to protect lives, homes, businesses, property from flooding. Next slide. So the districts were redrawn based on Census data from 2020. The district's now a little bit over 260,000 over the last 3 years as they've grown. And the district has changed a little bit. Basically, I think wisely, the redistricting commission decided to put in the entire Enumclaw Plateau right up to the city limits of Auburn, basically right near where the Green River contacts the valley floor. No longer any of Kent, which is too bad. I enjoyed representing Kent, but a good chunk of Kent is gone, as well as a good chunk of Renton. And it expanded out to the additional constituents in rural unincorporated King County. Next slide, please. Want to talk about some disturbing trends so everybody's on seeing what's happening here. We're having a real serious mounting public health crisis, overdose deaths. The statistic for 2023 is not accurate. That's a couple of months old. We're at about 500 overdose deaths so far this year in May already. We're on pace for about 1,300 this year. So it'll be an all-time record for overdose deaths. That's very nearly 4 people we expect, unfortunately and tragically, will die of an overdose every day, about 4 people every day. A lot of this is coming from the pandemic, depression, anxiety, way up over pre-pandemic levels, double-digit increase in drugs and alcohol, and massive increase in overdose deaths from 2019 to 2020. And it's not getting any better. So I want to flag that for you. Some of the polling I've seen has behavioral health as a top 4 issue, top 5 issue, depending on what stat you're looking at. So it's here, and sadly, it may be here to stay unless we really put our nose to the grindstone on this issue. Next slide. The fentanyl is just a little more than 50% of the overdose deaths, followed closely by methamphetamine overall. But the biggest increase is coming in fentanyl. You'll see 2019, 109, 2022, 710. That's a 551% increase. So last year when I was working on other stuff politically, I was got something that kind of snuck under the radar, but probably the most important gem legislatively last year was getting King County to declare fentanyl a public health crisis and ask public health to develop a lot more strategies, and part of what came out of that was the crisis care levy, which will put 5 new crisis care centers across King County. We've also put a lot of resources into a laced and lethal campaign. It just takes one pill to take a life. Laced and lethal is trying to raise awareness of the dangers of fentanyl. It does not discriminate, and it's a very serious challenge. Next slide. Some other stuff I've been working on, issues close to my heart. Don't Count Us Out anti-stigmatization campaign to help folks who are in recovery or thinking about recovery. 90% of people won't seek treatment because they're afraid of the stigma associated with being an addict in recovery, and that's no good. We've had a conference in substance use disorders. Over 500 people attended that, both virtually and in person, and it was really quite extraordinary. Just a couple of weeks ago at Bellevue College, bipartisan support. Governor Gary Locke was there, Jeannie Cole Wells was there, and I think we're slowly starting to get the word out of support. I think there's broad bipartisan support for the demand side, the treatment side of the drug problem and alcohol problem in Washington State, and it's nice to work in a space where there's bipartisan support. Next slide, please. Community safety is still a very significant issue. Significant increases since 2019 in homicides and shots fired. It looks like we may be leveling off, but there's always, the summer is always the most statistically violent time. People are out in the summer and in the heat, and days are longer. So we'll see what it is, but I expect a somewhat statistically close to 2022, maybe 2021 levels in terms of gun violence. It's nothing we can relax on. It's still a very significant challenge, but it may be getting better. Next slide. So as that, tsunami of the pandemic washed in and really disturbed a lot of our governing institutions, that wave has receded, and we're seeing a lot of the wreckage that it left. Very significant challenges with the King County Superior Court backlog still as a result of that. Pending felonies have risen from an average of 3,000 to nearly 5,000 in 2022. And major offenses, including homicide, rape, and robbery, have gone way up, and yet still unresolved. So there's a lot of open cases. We've done a funding package to help solve that problem. It's going to take a while for us to work through those cases. Everybody's entitled to a trial. Everybody's entitled to protections under the Constitution. We're planning to give them that, but not as timely as we have been historically. So you'll hear more about that. And I know that creates some problems downstream for cities as well. Next slide. A number of public safety initiatives I wanted to bring you up to speed on. King County Sheriff's Office hiring retention. We did fund retention and hiring bonuses because we were starting to hemorrhage law enforcement officers. Significant new employees for gun violence prevention and community programs, special operations, and detectives, and as well as air support, Marine money for that. Gun violence special emphasis team, which sort of is stepping in for what historically has been called the gang task force. Money for the Marine Rescue Dive Unit, and they also do river safety, river rescues as well in the major rivers. KCSO has some community work it's doing, and we funded that. Body cameras and $2 million for KCO supplies and services as well. So they aren't as underfunded maybe as they were a few years ago, but it still remains a challenge to recruit, and we have a significant number of vacancies in around 90 or so, and maybe some of the contract folks can specify that number more clearly, but it changes, and the new sheriff is doing her level best to hire people and retain new talent. Next slide, please. Okay, so there was a big movement to site a new airport somewhere in the western side of the state. It ran into very significant public opposition. I opposed it. Dow Constantine opposed it. I know many of you opposed it. The good news is that the governor has signed a bill which ends that search, at least in the near term. And so I think we can rest assured that there's not likely to be an airport in South King County anytime, a new airport anyway, in South King County anytime soon. The study will look at existing airport infrastructure. And I don't know how Covington's airport could be something that isn't anywhere near big enough for what they have in mind. But the good news is we a lot of work was down in Olympia trying to get that killed. We got it killed. That's good. Next step, or next slide, please. Budget. I want to flag this, probably the most important point I want to leave you with. Dwight Dively, who's the county budget director. Before that, he was the city of Seattle's budget director. He's been doing budgets since the 1970s. Last week in his briefing to the council, he said that this is the worst revenue shortfall he's seen since he started working in that field in the 1970s. So while they're saying it's $100 million revenue shortfall, I bet you it's more than that. And that's a lot of money to cut out of the general fund. As you know, most of our revenue sources are dedicated funds for dedicated purposes. And our general fund picks up the things that you think about, like the courts, the prosecutor, the sheriff's office, a lot of that stuff, and public defense and others. And so there's going to be really significant challenges in terms of balancing this budget. And so I know your budgets may or may not be in good shape, but ours isn't. The sugar high of the pandemic federal spending, I think, is mostly gone, and we're going to have to deal with a new fresh wave of reality. And let's hope that doesn't hit with a major recession, because this cut will take the shock absorber effect out of any future economic downturn. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. Next slide, please. Veterans, Seniors and Human Services levy. I supported the Crisis Care Center levy going to the ballot. In my district, District 9, the one that you all represent, it had by far the lowest passage rate of all 9 districts, significantly lower than the next closest one. We were, as a district, at 36.1% passage. Just to get a sense of where it gives me an indication there is some tax fatigue going on out there. A week or two later after that, the Veterans, Seniors and Human Services levy came before the council. Some had decided to increase it by 20%. And that didn't pass. It was a 5-4 vote because it was emergency action. It required 6 to pass. I was one of the 4 that voted against the increase, partly because there's more buildings in the county than there was 6 years ago, and because the value of homes have gone up so sharply in that time period. Even at the same levy rate with no tax rate increase, it generates a little over $200 million of additional revenue over the 6-year life of the levy. So it really is an increase, and I think most of us didn't feel that it was necessary to increase the actual levy rate, given where we feel the taxpayers are right now. So that's the background there, and that will be on the August ballot, this one. Next slide, please. King County Regional Homeless Authority come under fire recently. Some of you may be working with them. There is a 5-year plan that asks for about $8.4 billion in new capital and another basically $3.4 billion in additional operating costs for a total of $11.8 billion. It's controversial. I think it was a pie in the sky request about what the universe of needs for homelessness are if you pursue the particular housing first policies they're working on. It's getting some pushback. We'll see where it is. Suburban cities, the city of Seattle and King County have to decide by the end of next year whether they want to continue to be part of the King County Regional Homeless Authority, and there's a chance to exit under the initial terms of the agreement that was signed 4 years ago. So that's coming up. I wanted to flag that for you. There's another governing committee that will meet on June 1st to vote on the 5-year plan. Next slide. All right, we've got the end of the slide. I won't take up too much time. Mayor Kelly, thanks, and council members and mayors, thanks for having me on. I'm happy to take any questions that this presentation might have spurred.
Yep, we talked before is each mayor will have one question for you. And if anybody else has any questions, they can contact you or your staff. So Mayor Benson, do you have any questions for Councilmember Dunn?
Well, I don't have any questions. I just want to thank you for all funds that you give to our Black Diamond Community Center, to our museum, and to our gym. And it's really helped our city to get equipment and things going in, and the money that you gave to the skate park. And we're really hoping to get that started here soon. So we're looking at another grant that would fully fund that. So thank you very much for all that you do for Black Diamond.
Thank you, Mayor Benson. Happy to do it. More than happy to do it.
Yeah, Mayor Wagner.
Hey, Councilmember Dunn, thank you for being here tonight. You spoke about public safety in King County, 90 positions vacant, and I know you've set aside, or the county council has set aside funds to help fill those positions. But with that $100 million shortfall, so 2 questions: is that going to cut into those funds that were set aside to try and hire? And what else can King County do to try and fill those positions?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Wagner. Great question. It could potentially, as you know, one of the greatest risks to having a budget cut is to not expend the dollars, to not spend the money. And the challenge with the vacancies is complex. The prior sheriff for a while wasn't taking laterals and insisted on hiring through the Wash State Training Academy, which doesn't have the, at least historically hasn't had the capacity to put out nearly that many officers for King County. That caused a problem. The executive took a position on termination of sheriff's deputies who refused to get the vaccine, and we lost a bunch of deputies. I think around 30 directly terminated. There's also another 30 left because they were worried about getting fired. So that's a big part of it. And so now we go into a situation where Sheriff Cole Tindall is working really hard to hire new deputies, and we've got a $15,000 hiring bonus, and we've increased our rates, and the money's there. But if it gets too bad at the budget level, we might see a raid on some of those positions. We have not, quote unquote, defunded our sheriff's office throughout the pandemic. We actually kept those positions there, and I fought hard to keep them there, but there is some risk. So the best thing we can do is rehire as many of those folks as we can who want to come back and work for us, I hope, and I've put legislation forward to that effect, and then bring as many laterals in. And then the third thing is to protect those FTEs so that over the next year or two, we can hire them back in and not lose them.
Thank you for doing that.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you, Mayor Wagner. Deputy Mayor Purnell.
Thanks, Mayor. Councilor Dunn, first of all, I'll echo what Mayor Benson said. We really appreciate your representation out here. I think you're one of the electeds who is always involved and immersed and present in their district, and I really appreciate your support and across the huge breadth of things that you just presented on. One of those topics I think we've all wrestled with recently is the Blake decision and the recent legislation around that. And I've always respected your policy analysis. Can you share your thoughts on what you think the implications are for municipalities in the county?
Yeah, well, obviously the Blake decision kind of came down quick. The state legislature did a 2-year deal where they put a temporary fix in that would expire the last day of June. And so and they ended the legislative session without taking any action. So local leaders all of a sudden realized we're going to have to pass a criminal code of some kind for public drug use, for potentially for possession. Some of us got together at the Washington State Association of Counties, and Mary Cuney, who's the president of the organization, Spokane County, and I worked together to try and figure out a way to maybe push the legislature back into special session. So we all started proposing local laws of our own. And I think it got real clear to the legislature and the governor that, you know, a patchwork approach where one city might be different than the next city. Black Diamond's possession laws might be different from Covington's, from Maple Valley's, from King County's, from Pierce County's. It really isn't tenable, and it's not, although it's a last resort if we have to use it. You know, if some folks are blowing, you know, crack smoke at children on a playground, man, that's illegal. That's absolutely should be criminalized. And we did something like that, but then the legislature came back and thankfully passed a gross misdemeanor set of laws and a compromise move that I think is a good set of laws. So we no longer will operate without drug possession and public use being legal. And so the state now will carry forward. And then the local law that I proposed, the local ordinance says in it when I drafted it, that if the state acts, it would no longer become effective. So the state law will be the law of the land across all of the jurisdictions now that the legislature has acted. But it was a close call and pretty scary. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for your question.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
If the city of Black Diamond hasn't had a question yet, would I be able to ask one?
No. No, we're gonna, no,
Okay,
I'm saying no, the chair.
Okay.
So we decided the mayors would ask if you have a question for Councilor Dunn, you can contact your mayor or your staff or email him directly. Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Dunn, I just want to say thank you very much for making time. You know, you're busy back there. And I also want to say thanks to your staff because they're always available whenever we have any questions about anything like that. So you have a really good team there. And you're always available out here in Southeast King County, and it means a lot to us. So stay safe, and we'll see you at some of the parades pretty soon or community events. So always looking forward to having you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, council members. Appreciate the chance. Talk to you soon.
Stay safe. Thanks. Okay. Next up on the agenda is the city reports. This is besides Councilmember Dunn, this is my favorite section of the agenda because we get to kind of hear what everybody else is doing around the cities. And this is actually where I learn a lot. And I always like to make sure I ask City Manager Boley lots of questions what's going on in Covington. So one thing I do have a question for Mayor Benson and the City Manager Boley and City Manager Philpott is the question I'm going to have for you guys is, do you want questions during your presentation or towards the end? So
And
I think. Okay. Well, for her, we're gonna do it at the end, and then when we get to the next one, we'll ask you that. So we always do if any of our representatives want questions during. So Mayor Benson, it's always an honor to get an update on what's going on in the city of Black Diamond. So Andrews. Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You get the five little notches. You gotta bring donuts to the next council meeting.
it's not,
Shake it a couple times. That's what we do. Worth.
Debbie, you broke it. Sorry.
There we go.
whoa.
Pay attention, people.
Any questions over here?
Okay. So we have two new council members, Nathan Jones and Brad Douglas, that were just appointed. One of them at the end of last year and one of them this year, and they are both running. So all the council is running. We have, Nathan has an opponent and hopefully he will be successful, and he's been really good. And so our population has been growing. So we were kind of frozen at 4,000 for a long time. And then they started building homes in 2018, not very many, but it's continued to go up. And we anticipate that this year, with the information that we submitted to the Office of Financial Management, that our population will be around 8,000. And we approved a $38 million budget, and we expected that the home sales would drop because they're at a different place in their development right now. And so inflation has increased some of the costs, and our permitting has down. So we planned for that when we planned the budget. So we're not planning on adding any new employees for 2023 unless we're surprised by the income. But we have two large projects, $2.2 million of King County Flood Control District for the Covington Bridge that's going to go over Covington Creek, that now has 3 large ugly culverts. And we have the 3rd Avenue Water Main project, which we got money from ARPA. So we have 13 commissioned police officers, includes our police chief and commander. And their current focus is on recruitment and retention. And so they did a little video last fall to help recruit, and we're online to be at full.
One of my very first calls was this elderly gentleman that called the police station because he needed help hanging a door. Coming from a large agency out in New Mexico, I was like, well, can we do that kind of stuff here in Black Diamond? And yeah, I wasn't doing anything, so I went to this guy's house, spent about 15 to 20 minutes helping him hang a door. And that was a call that I first took here in Black Diamond. I thought, wow, what a unique place to work, in a place where, I worked, taking 20 to 30 calls in a shift, to a place where I actually get to do what I wanted to do, for the last 27 years, was generally help people in all different types of situations. That was a great example, and knew that this was the place that I wanted to work.
It's always the people that make everything special, no matter where you're at or who you work for, it's the people. And I've stayed here for over 25 years now because of the people, the community, our relationships with the people who live here, work here. Yeah, it's the people.
Black Diamond is unique. I've been here for 25 years, and this is a place where we don't have to go call to call like a larger agency. We have time to actually be proactive in the community. We also have time to hang out and do things with the community in a positive outlook.
I would say what makes us different is there's a really great balance between, you can be as proactive as you want. We love you to do police work, good old-fashioned police work. At the same time, you have to love our community and the people in it. We still teach DARE.
Really what DARE has transitioned to from what it was before and what people have remembered is it's about safe decision making and getting kids thinking about the situations that they could be running into later on in life.
I can go to the elementary school and shoot hoops with the 5th graders. I go down to the senior center, things like that you can't do in a larger city because your time is taken up going to different calls and diffusing situations. Well, you saw, it was high fives and more high fives. Is this a good one that I got? Is Cherry? Okay, Cherry's a good one? Okay, thank you.
We're very involved, and we couldn't be successful without the support of our community. Our city council support, our citizens, our businesses, we've got to work together, and that's what we do here.
Yeah, and so whenever I'm out there on patrol, just doing what I've been called to do here, it's just encouraging to know that I have full support from city council.
their willingness to be there, to listen to the community and to support us at events and to keep us safe. They are absolutely amazing to work with.
We have a very good mix of Old Town Black Diamond, so the old coal miners and the neighborhoods that still exist. And then we have 10 Trails, the brand new neighborhood that just got started a couple years ago.
And we're looking at a growth of almost quadruple what we have right now. So we have to stay on top of that, and we have a lot of people moving in from different areas that have never had the type of policing that we do here.
The people that have not really known a lot about our community and the secrets that we have here and how awesome we really are now figuring it out. They're now moving to our community, and we here are welcoming them with open arms.
Hopefully here, as years go by, we'll keep growing together from a small department to a larger one.
So here in Black Diamond, we have Lake Sawyer. It gives us an opportunity to have a marine patrol program. So we have a boat, and throughout the summer months, that gives us the opportunity for overtime to work on the boat during the weekend. So you get to spend your day out in the sun, checking safety on the other boats that are on the water, and just enforcing the rules of the lake for the community and the citizens that do live on the lake.
If you want to come to a place where you can really make a difference in your community, it's not just taking the calls or taking the 911 calls, it's making those positive contacts with people. If that's what you want to do in police work today, this is the place for you.
This is unique today because I don't know any other community that can say that.
We're not just excited about you being a part of our police department and wearing this uniform, we want you to be a part of this community as well.
It's a great place to work. I mean, you look at the surrounding area, if you're outdoorsy, this is where you want to work. And if you get to work and live here, you can't beat that.
So like many other cities, we're all busy working on our comprehensive plan update for 2024. We've had so many appeals on our comp plan that we have decided not to do an update for the next 2 years and concentrate on getting the 2024 done. And maybe, just maybe, we maybe won't get appealed this time. We don't know. And so anyway, our next, we had over 50 cities at our first public event, and we're planning on having another one on July 11th for land use strategies. And we will have a booth at our Miners Day Saturday on July 15th. And we, community development and the police department usually have a booth that at Miners Day and Labor Day to meet with the public and answer public questions. And we've had a lot of interest in what's going on with all our grant funding and Port of Seattle grants that we have for our parks. And we got this park donated to us a few years ago, and it's right next door to the museum. And so we've added some amenities with some money that we've gotten from the Port of Seattle. And we plan on having some more benches. And Gomer Evans, a really long time resident of Black Diamond that was even the mayor once, and he told me, he said, I don't know how you could do it. I did it one term and I thought it was awful. So, so anyway, he just passed away. And so we're thinking about naming the park after Gomer Evans Park. So we're, and then this is our skate park planning that we got the money from King County Council, from Reagan Dunn. And we've got some other money, a legislative grant for $85,000. And we're working right now with RCO for the rest of the grant funding that will complete the skate park and maybe construct it in 2024. As part of the master plan development, the developer is required to build another fire station in Black Diamond. And so this is a fire station that we have planned up on Lawson Street, and the plans have been submitted to the city. It was appealed by one of the neighbors, so it held it up for about a year. And I don't know too many people that would appeal a fire station, but anyway, it delayed the project for about a year, but we should be able to start construction this year. And then we had a change in command. So Chief Smith was going to retire. So Deputy Chief Judkins took over as the fire chief, and we contract with Mountain View Fire and Rescue for our fire service. And several days after the passing off ceremony, Chief Smith passed away of cancer suddenly. And so anyway, we're looking at naming this new fire station after him. So we have an update on the master plan development. So we have approximately 1,125 occupied units in 10 Trails right now. And construction has been going at a steady pace. It slowed down quite a bit this year, but all the rental units and rental homes are all occupied also, so we don't have any vacancies. And then we have traffic improvements, most of which are part of the development agreement. So we had the roundabout on Lake Sawyer Road that was just completed at the end of last year. And we have the temporary T at 169 and Roberts Drive that we did last year. And now we're working on the 288th and Covington Sawyer Road and 288th and 216th. They're going to be, we have a stoplight at the Covington Sawyer Road, but we haven't received the equipment to put the stoplight in at 288th and 216th. And then we're looking to put in stoplights at 169 and Baker and Lawson, because we don't have the room to build roundabouts there. And the roundabouts at 169 have been approved by WashDOT, and there's going to be two of them. One of them is going to be at Roberts Drive, and the other one that's north is going to be about where Palmer Coking Coal is. And then there's going to be a new east-west connector between that roundabout and Lake Sawyer Road. And then this is the weir and the culverts that are being replaced by a bridge that we got the grant from the King County Flood Control District. And this is probably one of our biggest grants that we've ever gotten. And we'll probably start work early next year, and it should be completed by 2025. And then we're working on our springs rehabilitation. Our springs were our major source of water, and then we contracted with Tacoma so that in the summertime when we don't have enough water, we can pump water. But the designs on the springs are underway and should begin in construction this year. We're going to be pumping, we're going to move the water main from where it is now, but it goes across the Green River, but we're going to put a new pipe in. And all the springs projects are funded by developers. And we have a lot of community events. Most people take a lot of pride in the history of Black Diamond and the coal mining history. So on Memorial Day, we have a service at the Black Diamond Cemetery. We have Black Diamond Miners Day, which is on July 15th this year, and Black Diamond Labor Days, which we still have, the parade on 169, and Hometown Christmas. And then we have a lot of we have the community center where they serve seniors, and we have a food bank and a clothing bank, and the Black Diamond Gym and Lake Sawyer Community Club that has fireworks on the lake every year, and the Black Diamond Museum and the gym where they have drop-in volleyball. And we also do Tough Mudder is mostly on Palmer Coking Coal property, but some of it is through the park. So does anybody have any questions?
Anybody on this side have any questions for Mayor Benson? Do you have a question about Tough Mudder?
Been no mud left if I was.
Any questions over here on this side for Mayor Benson? Anybody on that end have questions for Mayor Benson? I have questions.
Okay,
So the roundabout, how long did it take you to get permits from WashDOT? Because we're kind of,
6 years.
year 4, so we got 2 more to go, okay. And then, do you have to drop the speed limit though? We can talk about this a little bit more. I mean, you have to drop it like, it's right now 35, you have to drop it down to 20.
Well, it'll be 25 going around the roundabouts.
Do you have any questions? Okay, I have a question. My, my microwave went out this morning. I need to get it changed. Will Chief Kimberliter be able to come? I'm being serious.
That was actually Commander Martinez.
Well, I know.
And I don't know how good he is with it. She'll have to check her calendar.
I'm being serious. It went out this morning. Very good. Thank you, Mayor Benson. Yeah, well, thank you, Mayor Benson. Okay, City of Covington is up. City Manager Bully is up. Do you want questions during or after?
Questions anytime you want them is fine.
Okay, so any council members or mayors or mayor pro tems or deputy mayors have any questions, just raise your hand and he'll see you and answer your question. Okay.
I will say, Mayor Benson, I'm thinking of applying for a police job in Black Diamond. I mean, was that video not inspiring? That was cool. So great job on that. Okay. I'm clicking. Maybe you get me started. Yeah, let's try this. There we go. All right, well, happy to be here tonight, everybody. This is always an annual favorite event. So I'm just going to go through some real highlights in Covington for the last year. Start with financing, a few things. We implemented some new cloud software really to make our processes and accounting more efficient, and that's been great. We had over $3 million in ARPA funds. We processed 30 grants and appropriations worth over $60 million, which is a huge task and lift for our finance department. You may wonder why I have a street with potholes on it in our finance. Yeah, no, it's going to make sense in a second. So our council did take advantage of the new authority that you can do councilmatically to approve a 0.1% sales tax for streets. And so we did that. And we're starting to collect those monies soon. That will bring in just over $700,000 into our streets fund, which will be great to be able to start fixing some of those potholes and other things going on in our streets. Like Mayor Benson mentioned with the comprehensive plan update, we're doing that as well through, we've done a comprehensive plan audit. We're doing a pretty intensive public education plan where we're meeting with a lot of different community members, stakeholders, meeting with every commission in the city to get their input, from the Equity, Cultural, Social Justice to the Arts Commission to the Economic Development Council, and giving a lot of great feedback that will really inform this comprehensive plan. As well as we applied for and received a grant for a climate action plan that we will also help inform our comprehensive plan update. So looking forward to that. Should be a great product that we finish next year. Community development, still a busy year in 2022. We issued 425 permits, over 4,200 inspections. We issued 195 new business licenses and then assisted 5 businesses with our small business liaison program. That's something we started 2 years ago, realizing that the permit process kind of sucks. But it's one of those things that is a necessary thing to make sure we have live fire safety things with our development. So we have one of our development team that is assigned as our small business liaison, and they provide a free consultation to a small business owner coming in that may not know about that permitting process, has a lot of questions, and then really guides that person throughout. So that's proven to be a wonderful program that we've been doing the last couple of years. Covington Connector, this is a big $50 million project we've been talking about for several years. It was exciting last year to get phase 1 of that completed. That was 204th, connected Kent Kangley up to the Maple Hills subdivision. Phase 2 is under construction and will be completed this year. That's the interchange at Highway 18 and 256. And then phase 3 will be the Lake Point Boulevard that will run through the Lake Point development. It's exciting to see these things come about. I'm sure as you're driving through, you're seeing some of that. Speaking of the Lake Point development, some transitions happened last year with this. The master developer was Oak Point, a local master developer. They sold the property to Toll Brothers in Brookfield. And so that changed the dynamics quite a bit with this project. And we've gone through a transition period with them coming in. It was interesting, you know, prior to them purchasing, we started meeting with them and saying, well, you understand what's in the development agreement? Oh, yeah, we're good with it. Well, now we discover there's a lot they weren't aware of that was in there. So we're kind of starting at square one as far as education through this development process, but they're great to work with. It's going well. Again, that'll be over 1,700, up to 1,700 housing units and 1.3 million square feet of commercial space. And then obviously that Lake Point Boulevard.
Brook Brothers, is that from Washington State? Are they based? I've never heard of that company. Are they,
Brookfield
yeah,
or Toll Brothers? Two separate, they're national companies.
Okay.
Yep. So the project is moving faster. The pace is quickened quite a bit with these deeper pockets, more investment. So it's going well, and excited to get that pumping here quick. 516 improvements, like I mentioned about traffic, this has only worsened it, but hopefully it'll make it better. So this is Jenkins Creek to 185th. This is about a $19 million project. We're widening to 5 lanes, putting in fish passage. And then there will be a bridge going over Jenkins Creek that will be a walkway that will connect a trail on the south side of Kent Kangley to the north side and connect a park from downtown to our Jenkins Creek Park that I can talk about in just a minute. So SoCo Park is what we've been calling it, kind of a placeholder name. We have renamed it to Founders Park. This was done through a community survey and went through our Parks Commission and then ultimately with the City Council. So Founders Park is in our town center, just across the street from our future City Hall site. And so we have a master plan completed for that. Phase 1 will be done this year. It's a passive use park, have playgrounds, some trails that will walk down to the creek and then tie up through that project on Kent Kangley up into Jenkins Creek Park. Still working on funding for the completion of that trail. And we'll have a couple other phases as we work through Founders Park project. Speaking of Jenkins Creek Park, again, that's a beautiful park in the middle of town, forested, little pond and stream back there. The entrance has been always an issue because it's just tough to get to, and there's no parking, and you got to kind of walk through some neighborhoods and get into there. So we were able to secure this property, just about 2 acres, and we've designed that now. It will be completed this year, and that's to provide parking and some great access to the park. So that park will start seeing a lot more use, which we're looking forward to. So obviously during COVID, with things shut down, athletics, recreation, aquatics, those things just took a steep dive. But 2022 really saw a rebound for us in Covington. We had over 2,500 participants in our athletics programs, over 2,100 in recreation, and over 90,000 visits to our aquatic center. That's not quite where we were pre-pandemic. We were hovering around 100,000, a little more, but it'll get there. In every program we have, we are waitlisted in everything. So there's a lot of demand. We just are trying to find the capacity to be able to provide for that demand. Even some of our council members get waitlisted. So we're working on it. We're working on it. I won't point out who, but yeah, that's right. Again, exciting to bring back a lot of our community events in 2022, and we received some grants that helped us improve and add to those and create additional events like our family entertainment at the park. We did several of those throughout the summer. They were daytime things for families. We held about every other weekend a movie at the park, and all these were attended by 200 to 300 people. Really great events, a lot of fun. Overall, through our festivals and events, we saw just over 16,000 attendees, which we're really happy about, and some great events that we hope to continue on. So I'll spend a little time on public safety. That is absolutely a top priority in the city of Covington. Our police contract with the King County Sheriff's Office, I know Maple Valley is a contract city and experiencing this as well, between 2023 and 2024, our contract costs will increase by right around $1.1 million, which is a huge hit to our general fund. And that's no additional services. So that makes it really difficult. So we got together, we started trying to think, how can we, without adding additional officers, which is also something we're working on doing, but what are some other things we can do that will increase and improve public safety in Covington? So that's a list of the things that we came up with that we're working on. CPTED is crime prevention through environmental design. We went full in on this. We brought in a national trainer who trains nationally. He came in, he certified a lot of our planners in the city. He certified our police department. So they are CPTED certified. So when someone comes in for a permit, we evaluate CPTED principles on that. All of our local businesses, if they don't know, they're crazy, but they should know, because we've gotten the word out there that our officers are available to come and do a CPTED analysis of their facility and their property. Several have taken them up on it, and crime on those properties has drastically decreased through CPTED. So it's been a great success, and we'll keep doing. We also implemented a trespass program, working with our business owners and business managers and property managers and owners to make that process a little easier, because it's not as easy to say, I'm going to trespass that person and it's done. There's some work that the business has to do. And so we've helped facilitate that. We've held meetings with businesses. We've gone out to businesses and showed them the program. And that has been incredible. That's helped our property crimes decrease. We're seeing about a 16% decrease. Adam, I think I'm right, in property crimes once we implemented that program. So excited about that. We continue to do theft emphasis with all of our major retailers. We station people out there working with their loss prevention. Every time except one time, we make arrests, we recover thousands of dollars in stolen goods. And so that's a great thing that our retailers really enjoy. We hired a community care specialist last year that's just doing an exceptional job. And I'm not going to talk about that because he's here with us tonight, and you'll hear a little bit from him later. Our clean team I will talk about, and that's kind of a fun idea that we came up with last year. Right now, our clean team is one member, but she has a lot of volunteers that help support her. And she is literally every day cleaning up Covington. And if there's one thing we've done in the city recently that gets more public support, it's the clean team. So it's really awesome. She's a great face to the city. She's out there picking up garbage, removing stray shopping carts, removing graffiti, and she's just in our downtown core right now. So we hope to really expand that. But we have seen it inspire several people. There's this retired woman up by Kentwood High School, lives in that area, and Foss Roundabout area. And she goes out when she sees Jennifer and picks up garbage with her, even with a walker sometimes. Even when Jennifer's not out there, she's out there picking up garbage because of that clean team. So it's really wonderful and exciting. We've increased our Adopt a Street program with Jennifer, and so it's been a great thing. Last year, the council appointed a council subcommittee to discuss public safety. That was Councilmember Simomo, Porter, and Mayor Pro Tem Smith and myself. And we really took a deep dive into the contract with King County Sheriff's Office, partnering with other cities, contracting with other cities, or going in-house, and talked about financing. How can we finance that heavy cost of public safety? We talk about it being a priority. We need to put our money where our mouth is and really get the job done with that. So that was quite an undertaking. We submitted a report last fall to the city council. One of the funding recommendations for that was a business and occupation tax in Covington that would be 100% solely dedicated to public safety. We did an incredible amount of outreach for this. We held open houses for the business. We walked to every business in Covington and handed them an invitation to come and talk about this. We did a survey. That survey went out to a couple hundred businesses. We received just over 40 responses, which is a really good return rate on a survey like this. We held an open house for the community, an open house for the chamber. And on the survey and the open houses, unanimously, surprise, surprise, people don't like B&O taxes. But if it is dedicated to public safety, there was absolute wonderful support for this. So this is something that will come back to the Covington City Council very soon to decide whether to do this or not. We estimate that will raise anywhere between $1.5 and $2 million for Covington each year. And so that will be a huge help to our public safety in the community. Downtown Association, this is another fun kind of grassroots effort that we're working on. We started throwing the idea around, a property owner, a business owner, myself, last year, and thought, could we make a Downtown Association work in Covington? Because all the efforts the city is doing are wonderful, but the property owners and business owners really need to come to the table and partner with us to make this happen. So the three of us started walking around, meeting with different property owners and business owners, property management companies. And it's been a really great success. There's a ton of momentum. We've got about 16, 17 either property owners, property managers, or business owners that are now all in, and they're with us. And we're continuing to reach out to a couple that we've not been able to reach with yet. The goal of this eventually will be, you can see the boundaries that we drew around that district, will be to create a business improvement district. And that will be something that these property business owners do so that they can levy funds from themselves to hire people to focus on the same issues that the city's focusing on. And as we met with all that 16, 17 member group, it came down to, we want Covington downtown clean and safe. And so that's what this association will work on in conjunction with the city. So excited to see the momentum with that moving forward. Communications, the greatest story that people think is never told is what municipalities do. But we're doing it and trying to get the word out. Page views and visits on our website continuing increase. Facebook saw a 46% increase in impressions last year, which was exceptional. We've got a great following there. Then we have what we call our Covington Connects app. That's an app that you can report issues that you see, problems that you see, complaints that you see around town, take a picture of it. It will send in the location and we start working on it. You can see we've got over 1,200 issues and submittals last year. And it's a small team of people trying to work on all those, and all those take a lot of time. And so it's a ton of work. When we got the Covington Connects app, we knew it would increase complaints, and it has. So we're continuing to try to work on those and do the best we can. But it's a great tool for the community. So we'll continue to do our best. Again, on this getting our story out there, we started a Let's Talk campaign. And so whatever we're doing, it's Let's Talk. We've got a website built around that shares all the top priorities in Covington. We hosted street meetings, Let's Talk Streets. And we decided to go to where the people were. And we went and set up canopies and brought out some food and all materials on streets. And we broke it down to, it costs $135 to fill a pothole. And this is how many potholes we've done in the last 2 years. And this is how much 500 feet of an overlay is going to cost. And really, this is to help people understand that they're dang expensive. Like, street maintenance is incredibly expensive, and we cannot keep up with it without additional funds sometime. We're not asking for additional funds right now, but we're going to have to eventually. But those street meetings were great. Council members attended all of those. And another fun thing we did is we brought some cold asphalt patch out and had little cups so kids could patch their own potholes and take them home. So parents were a little confused at that. But yeah, but you are spot on. Yeah, they did look like Black Rice Krispies. Yeah, but hardened up the next day. But anyway, really, really great response to those. This year, we'll be working on some service projects for the council. The council will be out in the community doing service projects. Let's Talk Covington, host a council member, where a community member can host a council member to come in and chat, and then also for our comp plan, like I mentioned a little earlier. You notice Karma, the chameleon, our mascot, a couple slides back. Karma's awesome. And as a April Fool's joke, we thought it'd be funny to post on social media that we've changed the mascot to a slug. Well, people liked the slug. Yeah,
I cut and pasted it and sent it to our council.
They said it looks like me, so we're keeping it, and it's Karma's pet. So Karma has a pet slug, but looking forward, we're going to continue to work on public safety, filling police positions. We're holding vacancies. We want to fill those. Moving into the final phase of Covington Connector and Lake Point. Our 516 improvements, we have right-of-way and design funded out to 195th, but we're going to keep pushing that out towards Maple Valley, and then it'll become their problem. And so we're going to open the station at Vintage, which is multifamily housing that's looking great and coming along well. And our aquatic center, that's something that we started a feasibility study on to identify some sites and locations. Things altered and changed a little bit with that, but we are still full go on that. We changed it a little bit where we're going to evaluate remodeling our current facility and can we improve the footprint on that. If anybody's gotten in with Tahoma School District, let me know because we need to work with them on that one. No, they're good. It's going well. And then further park development. So anyway, that's a quick update in Covington, what happened last year. Happy to take any questions.
Okay. Questions on this side over here? Anybody over here? Around? Oh, go ahead.
So I asked Regan, well, I gave him a little note, aquatic center. Just because that was a big thing for all three cities.
Yeah.
Covington, Maple Valley, Black Diamond. Black Diamond didn't have the funding to help with that, but some of our residents joined in on that feasible study. And it's still very important to all of our residents, Maple Valley, Black Diamond, to get that aquatic center. And, you know, I'm sure that if we had the funding, we would have helped immensely. But, you know, our council talks about, you know, mental health and, you know, a place to, you know, go exercise and relieve that stress. So I'm excited to see where Covington is going with this and how you're going to make it bigger. I know it was a pretty ambitious new building that you were going to do. So, so my question was just, you know, so you're going to rebuild or try to rebuild the location that you're at now with the same like footprint or scaling it down?
So, so the plan right now is to add into our feasibility study. We have a site, we have property, city owns it in our town center that we could build something. But now it's Covington going it, right, without Maple Valley and Black Diamond. So, and we get it's a wonderful tri-city asset. But because of the cost of that facility building new, we thought it would probably be wise in our best interest to evaluate what could we do in our current location. We would have to increase the footprint there. That's why we have to work with Tahoma because they own the land. We own the building, they own the land. So right now it's just in feasibility. Once we evaluate those two options, it'll go back to our city council and then we may have something a little more permanent.
Exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Didi. Councilor Burberry, and I see you over there. I'm working my way around.
Got it.
What consultant did you use for the CEPTED program? And how did you engage business owners with the program?
Yeah, I forget his name. I can get it for you though, Les, and send that over to you. Yeah, Christina actually did it as well. So, with the business program, our officers are really engaged and involved with our businesses, and so we meet with the chamber frequently. And then there probably last year, me and several other people, the council included, walked to every business in town and we let them know that this is available. So open houses are great and it's nice to get 20 people to it, but sometimes we got to do the walking. So that's how we let them know about it. Cool. Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor Burberry. I thought I saw another hand over here. Oh, Deputy Mayor Pernilla.
So yeah, Regan, a comment or question about the CEPTED program also. Given the proximity of our communities, those kinds of things almost feel like they should become regional efforts, you know, within our Tri-City, right? And I'm thinking if there's ever an opportunity for anybody to bring CEPTED training in, I would love to see a call to action for all three communities to say, let's get together and do this, because we're literally chasing criminals from one community to another, right? So maybe we can work together on that. It would be pretty exciting. I don't know, you know, if or how many of our planning staff have had CEPTED training. Maybe some of them have already been exposed to it.
So in our contract with the trainer, we were able to have 50 people attend. We didn't have that many on our own staff that we were training. So I think some Maple Valley officers came out?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so one of your staff did come to that. I think we had some people from Black Diamond. We had officers from city of Seattle come. So yeah, we definitely tried to make it a regional thing and got the word out for it.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I mean, I think it's a really exciting opportunity to sort of prevent it before it occurs. Yeah, thank you.
Are we around here? Yeah, go ahead. Counselor Smith?
So, Karma the Chameleon, right?
Yeah.
Was that you or is that Jeff? And are we gonna?
Inside the suit? So,
There's not enough.
so
fabric.
I intentionally
I was gonna say,
had
like,
it made so
that's-
it only fit people under 6 foot. So
So are we gonna see the slug costume come out? Or it's gonna go full tan?
hey, you're seeing it, man.
I mean, I was wondering.
We haven't quite developed much on the slug yet, other than what you saw on the screen. So
I dig it.
cool.
Thank you, Counselor Smith. That was probably one of your most likes though on your social media during that time. So
It could have been, yeah, I don't know. So
working my way down. Anybody else? Okay, Counselor Dealing.
Thank you, Mayor. So yeah, and first I actually just wanted to clear the air earlier. You know, the questions that I had earlier that I'll be following up on with Councilmember Dunn was really about just being an additional squeaky wheel for our transit and also on behavioral mental health support and funding. So just wanted to let people know that was at least the spirit of what was going on. But to your question earlier, I was actually excited to hear more about the Small Business Liaison Program. And I would be curious to see if you would be willing to share your blueprints or your trade secrets with a very friendly neighboring city. We might be in a slightly different income bracket because we're still growing up, but I think that would be something that would be of huge interest to our small businesses, people who are interested in growing a business here and possibly supporting our very busy planning staff. So I was excited to hear it, and I would be curious to hear the details of how a smaller city could do something like that.
well, fortunately, in local government, we don't have trade secrets. So
I
we will
know.
share.
I've heard otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get it to you. And it's on our website as well. You can go on, see the whole program, sign up on there. Yep.
Great. Well, ideally, it does come with a slug or two. So
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Got plenty of slugs.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Leon. Anybody on the far end down there? Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, City Manager Boy. It's always good to get an update from Covington there. City Manager Laura Philpott, City of Maple Valley, and Councilor Schropp. I'm pretty excited about that view right there.
Good evening. Thank you. So really excited to share the front,
How's clean? Do you want questions during or after?
however
Okay.
it works. So who you see here is this gnome. He doesn't have a name yet. We will be having a naming contest with our community later this year, but he will be the City of Maple Valley's new mascot. So we're really excited to start introducing him publicly. It's not. You have to click right on. So just picture of our lovely city council here. They spent last Saturday working on new vision, mission, and core values. We're really excited and proud of. We will focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, provide programs, services, and resources for a healthy community, be good stewards with resources entrusted to us, and we will be authentic with our intentions, decisions, and actions. Really excited to, I really believe these core values are things that we already have, and we're excited to implement them and roll them out and kind of be that North Star for us, if you will. I wanted to share a little bit about how we've changed over the years with demographics, because I think it's a lot of fun to see the change. Our population has doubled essentially in the last 20 years. And the other thing I wanted to highlight is that 35% of our population is 18 or younger. So that is pretty substantial when you think about, when we're thinking about programs and services. The other thing that's really important for us, especially when we look at our new core values, is that in 2010, 85% of our community was white only. And as of the census in 2020, we were 72%. So you can see that as we grow, we're growing in diversity as well, which is really exciting. Housing and income, you can see here that Maple Valley has continued to be higher than the King County average in household income. But during our comprehensive plan investigation, we've also learned that about 26% of our residents are house burdened, which means they spend more than a third of their salary on housing. And so that's an important stat for us to keep in mind. The city council every year spends a lot of time working on legislative priorities and working with our legislators down in Olympia. Two things that were a big priority for our council this year included the police reform legislation that we talked about when Reagan Dunn was talking, and also mental health. I did not go into police or mental health discussions in any of my presentation because we'll be hearing from Chief Collins and from our community resource coordinator later this evening. Public outreach. I think both cities talked about public outreach. It is such an important priority. We did a survey in 2022, and that survey really, I could spend an hour just talking about the data that we got back from it. But what we learned was that over 1 in 4 respondents have lived in Maple Valley less than 5 years. So we're seeing that huge change in our population. We also overall heard that we're doing a good job and that our community really wants to be involved. So we heard that loud and clear. And so as we begin our comprehensive plan work like Black Diamond and Covington, in January, we had our kickoff meeting with over 125 people, maybe more, 150 plus. Yes, we did have pizza. See, everybody knows about it. You feed them. We also had activities for children, which is important. But we've heard some conversations from Covington about going to where the residents are. Our planning commission and our staff have spent a lot of time out doing these pop-up events and getting lots of feedback from our community on what we want to be. And see the sticky notes is how they were providing feedback. And our staff put together some wordles. So the questions were, what is your vision? As you can see here, walkable, vibrant downtown. That's what our community really wants. And the next question was, what do you love about Maple Valley? We all went around and said, what do we love? But what really came out as our parks and our small town feel. What improvements are needed? Roads and traffic. So yes, swimming pool and teen activities, but wow, roads and traffic was like on the top. And then we talked about what do we need for housing? And we saw a lot of, our community is really plugged into the fact that we are very heavily dependent on single family housing and we don't have that diversity in our housing stock. So condos, missing middles, townhomes. So these are all things that'll feed into the comprehensive plan. In addition to, we're still talking about public outreach, the Viewpoint with Dennis Quaid is a national show that reached out to the city. So we did some filming with them. It shows on public access television, and they also air a commercial on national networks like CNN and Fox. And so the filming was done and included one of our local business owners who is also the vice chair of our Economic Development Commission. And in speaking of our Economic Development Commission, they have been doing a lot of great work as far as outreach as well. And they created a city to business video for businesses who are interested in maybe considering coming to Maple Valley. So it's really short. So I wanted to share that really quickly. So, oops. So yeah, that was, kind of jumped forward pretty fast. So that was a video that our Economic Development Commission put together. It was, really a grassroots project by them. And so it's really exciting to see it come, and it'll just be a way for us, when businesses are interested, it's a way for us to connect with them. We could not be Maple Valley without our partnerships. Our council really prioritizes that, and it's very important. You all talked about how amazing your people were. Well, obviously a community can't be what it is with just the city government. So it's everybody on this list and more. A couple of things I wanted to highlight here was the farmers market. In 2019, it was still at Rock Creek Elementary School, and they grossed less than 500,000 that year, and they were really excited. In 2022, they grossed over 1.6 million, and the last 2 weekends have been record-breaking weekends for them. So if you want to go to the market, go at 9 a.m. or else.
Or go on the trail, don't go to the.
Yes,
parking lot.
walk or ride your bike. And then the other thing is the business community. We've been working really hard to really increase that partnership with our businesses through the chamber and direct contact. Grants in 2022 from ARPA, we gave 110,000 directly to businesses and 276,000 to nonprofits, some of the partners you saw on the previous slide. And speaking of ARPA, there's actually an application out right now for Maple Valley businesses, and very similar to what Covington said. We actually have a staff member who's going out and has met with every single brick and mortar business in town and has given them a packet and explain. And if they need help, if the language is an issue, if resources or understanding, and he's providing that support in filling out the application. I already mentioned our Economic Development Commission. They've also, in addition to the video, they created a pitch and pivot program where people who have ideas for new businesses can come in and meet with a panel of experts and bounce their ideas. We've had a few, they've been just so well received. And we even had one business who was getting ready to launch, and she came in with a name that the Economic Development Commission was like, ugh, yeah, that name's not going to work. And she actually changed the name of the business before she went live. And she was so appreciative for that feedback, and just been awesome. I also just wanted to talk a little bit about this leakage study that the Economic Development Commission did. And I'm going to show you one example of how powerful it is and why we are going to continue to use it. Is our swim program, or visits to Lake Wilderness Park. Can't really see that, but it was over, I can't read the numbers from there, but I believe it's about 7. Sure about that. Oh.
That's serious number.
Yeah.
Please make sure that's in the notes. Thank you.
So anyways, it shows, so every time a cell phone enters a park, and you can do this with events, you can do this with locations, but every time the cell phone enters, it's logged as a visit. But it's not like, I come to the park a lot. Obviously, my cell phone's only logged once in that window that we look. So we have like, I don't know, 90,000 people visiting Lake Wilderness Park, and so many of them are from outside of 98038. So how do you leverage that and make it something that our local businesses can profit from? And one of the really interesting things is we can also say, where did they go before and where did they go after? And Chick-fil-A in Covington is like almost at the top of both lists. So apparently, everybody goes to Chick-fil-A before and after going to the park. So
we're getting
so we're going to work on that. So you're welcome. So yeah, so here it is. See number 1, prior Chick-fil-A, and number 2 for post. Really interesting. So it's really interesting, and we're excited about that data. The other thing that we heard in our survey was how much our citizens love our events. Like, we see that list of events. We just have so many, the fishing derbies put on by the chamber, Maple Valley Black Diamond Chamber of Commerce, who are here. And that's just that sort of kicks off our event season. It's really exciting. We have the golf course. Our whole entire community participates in National Night Out, but our golf course is doing a special visit for National Night Out. We have the bike challenge. We have Independence Day on the 3rd of July. And we have Kids Festival and music in the park on Thursday nights in August, and just so many fun things. And then we have Maple Valley Days, which is coming up. It's the second weekend in June every year. And here's a picture of council from walking in the parade on previous years. And there's a flyer again, going back to that. How do we connect? There's a postcard actually that they pass out to the residents along the parade route and in the booth. And it's a QR code. And so many people have connected and let us know that they've gained information from that. So it's been very powerful. This is our 3rd year for Ironman. 70.3 Washington. It was year 3 out of a 3-year contract. So to be determined if there will be additional years in the future, but September 17th this year, the race will occur. And there's our gnome. He's going to participate. The swim is in the lake here, and the bike route does go through. Thank you to Black Diamond for allowing the bike course to come through your community. We had a lot of support from everybody in the region. And then the run is through our Arboretum and out on the King County Regional Trail System. So the run portion doesn't impact the roads. It's really the big impact is from the bike course. Last year we did a different town hall than we've ever done. Traditionally, we've always done it here at the lodge. We did it at our legacy site where the farmers market is hosted. And we had just an amazing turnout. And yes, we helped children do tie-dye t-shirts. So that was quite the adventure. So we had tie-dye shirts, we had rock painting, and we just had so much interaction and fun. And it was a great event. Programs like Covington, our youth and recreation programs are through the roof. So I just picked one program just to highlight so you can see the number of participants over the years. Obviously 21, it was canceled because of COVID. In 22, we had to scale it back because of just, spacing things out. But you can see in 23, we had record numbers, and we're seeing that across the board with T-ball and soccer and all of the programs. So our team does an amazing job of keeping these youth sports programs.
Back to basketball program. I understand they're looking for coaches. Counselor Pearson coached last year. So if anyone's interested in coaching next year, she's available to be a consultant if you want to be a consultant.
But she's not for hire in Covington. Just want to be clear. Just want to be clear. So, as we look to the future, we also know that we need places to gather in our community, and we don't have a downtown. We don't have that a lot of things. So one of the things we're working on for a place to gather is our Lake Wilderness Community Clubhouse. So here is a schematic of the outside. If you've been to Lake Wilderness Golf Course, you may have seen our clubhouse is a little dated, say it nicely. But yeah, so we're super excited. Here's some different images. When working really hard on this, including all the way over in the right-hand side, you'll see that we're exploring the ideas of a putt-putt or miniature golf facility. Again, just for more activities for our community and youth to do. Including a banquet facility. The gray carpeted area all the way to the right is a banquet facility that would host 250-person events. So all of these auctions and things that go out of our region for different fundraisers we can do right here and host in town. So excited to see that progress. And then you saw in the Wordles that our community is really interested in having a vibrant downtown. So our council's working on the downtown design standards and guidelines, and I think they're getting close to the finish line. So we're excited to see what comes of that. And you saw it a little bit in the video as well. So if you're not familiar, this is near Four Corners, and it's kind of just south of the legacy site where the farmers market is. Just really, really looking forward to getting those regulations done and seeing what comes in the future. The other thing is you saw is transportation seems to be kind of a big deal. So I just wanted to celebrate the fact that we opened Southeast 231st Street extension last year. You know, building a brand new road is always a challenge, and especially getting funding for a brand new road. So we were super excited to make that connection. And there's a picture of the ribbon cutting. So that is just, does everybody know where the new Amazon site is? Yeah, so it's connected there over by the Amazon, so it's a way to buy all of those residents who live on the east side of 169 are able to make their way to Highway 18 without coming out onto that intersection of Whitty Road and 169. So it provides some connectivity. It also provides the ability for just if there are issues on 169, and it's just connectivity is important. So it's a great.
People from Black Diamond can't use that back street there, so. I'm not sure.
Oh, we put the signs up. It's good.
Street
Yeah.
races.
And then a couple projects that I wanted to highlight that are a really big deal for our community is Whitty Road. It's under construction right now. They're right here where the golf course entrance is, where you may have driven through it on your way here, depending on which way you came. The construction got sort of interrupted a little bit because there was a hawk's nest that we had to chicane around with, had some babies. So the babies have hatched, and we're waiting for them to fly the nest before we can kind of move back into that area. But that is going to be a gorgeous entrance to our golf course. And there's a huge neighborhood to the west that connects, and we put in the sidewalk last year. So providing that additional safety and access point, and then having that non-motorized connection to this park is just such a great thing, a great asset for the community. And then the other project that's actively being worked on design wise is 169 improvements, again, near that farmer's market. A lot of activity going on in that downtown farmer's market area. But the idea is to you see where the farmer's market is on the map at Rock Creek Elementary, and it goes from 253rd to 260th. And this drawing shows how there's two roundabouts included on that on 169, and some improvements to the school entrance, and then also providing those non-motorized and some additional capacity for cars. So that'll be another great asset. And the pictures on the right are a couple of the pictures from the public outreach meeting. We had a lot of people very interested and came and gave a lot of great feedback. And that is it for my update.
Thank you very much, City Manager Laura Philpott. Anybody on that end have any questions? Okay, we're going this way. Okay, Councilor Smith.
Thank you. On the leakage survey, which carrier network are y'all using, or what agency or software do y'all use to pull user info in terms of zip codes off of a cell phone?
So they're called Placer AI, and it's a company that's what they do. So I know they work with a lot of businesses. So like, for example, there's a Chick-fil-A that has applied for there's a new development going in on the south end of town, and it includes a Chick-fil-A. I'm certain that they had access to this data when they made that decision, because it's something that businesses have been able to use for a while. But yeah, it's Placer AI.
Have you run into any issues with people's ability to opt out of that, or are they opted in based off which tower their cell phone's pinging?
So all of us, unless you specifically go into your cell phone and turn all that off, you're walking around and the data is all just kind of rolled up. So it's not like Sean P. Kelly went to the park, right. It collects all that data. So it's being collected by us now. It's just a company using that data that's out in the world and pulling it together.
Is it a contract you had to sign with them, or is it?
Correct. Yes. So we just get the data on the.
Yeah, I'm just curious because
there is a fee associated with it.
No, because I'm thinking for our parks, figuring out who's at the Lake Sawyer South entrance versus the boat launch and where all the boats are coming from.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it for you can do the dates very specific. You can do it like per weekend, per month, per date. You can really drill it down.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor Smith. Anybody else around here? This way. Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yeah, I was intrigued by your outdoor town hall. What was the issue you worked on?
So we have, we call it our annual town hall meeting, and it's slash birthday party. So we've always served ice cream and cake around our birthday and our annual town hall. We have traditionally had it here in this building. In the last couple of years, the attendance wasn't super great. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't super awesome. And so we decided to try something new. Council had a subcommittee that worked on it and came up with the idea. And what that allowed us to do, I think, is we were able to put up signs where people were driving by and they saw it. And then also people just driving by while we're there. It's very visible. And people were like, hey, what's going on there? I'm going to pull over and check it out. And I think that's part of it. I think just people are very comfortable with going to the farmer's market site. It's not, I mean, that's where the farmer's market is. And so there's, they like the site, and it just was fun. I think it was more room for kids to run around and do activities. Like, I don't think our parks director would be very excited if we did a tie dye here in the building, but doing it outside, it worked okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Smith. Anybody else along here? On this way? Okay, I don't know if you're willing or not, but if the three of you would be willing to, maybe email your presentation. So I always like to have a third point document when I'm out in the public talking about things. So it always helps me when I'm talking about something. So if you could email it to all three councils, send it to Andrew, and he can get it to us, that'd be great. Can we give the three of them a big round of applause for the awesome job they did? So, and I know they spend a lot of time, they each got 15, 20 minutes. They spent hours getting these presentations ready. So thank you. It means a lot. So. And if any of you have any questions about Covington, I got a bunch of Regan Boley's business cards right here. Yeah. Oh yeah. You got them. She got them back there for me. Okay. Next up is discussion on police department updates. So I think we're going to have the three representatives from the police departments come up, kind of give an update on what's going on. And council member, if you could hand your mic there to them on the podium there, unless Andrew's got something else set up that I just want to make sure that their remarks are in the public record. Okay, I guess we have a mic.
Probably me. Yeah. Thank you for the invite. For those that don't know me, my name is Tommy Collins, Chief of Police for Maple Valley. Chief Easterbrook will be helping me with this presentation. We kind of combined them this year. So to highlight a couple of things that we have done together this year. So to get into what King County Councilmember Dunn was talking about with the staffing. So right now we have 20 current FTEs that are authorized for Maple Valley PD. We have 17 actual at this time. I am carrying a vacancy for one detective that is doing a temporary assignment downtown for King County based on his skill set. I've lost one patrol officer that is going to help King County with Guardian 1 because he's a former helicopter pilot. And unfortunately, helicopter pilots are very expensive and they're hard to train. And I think they're trying to keep him from retiring, which I appreciate. We currently got recently a new police civilian assistant. Actually, she started Monday. So she came from us from the sheriff's office. Yes, I did poach her from precinct 3 to bring her over here based on skill set. She has fitted in seamlessly so far, and we're excited to have. And for those who have been commuting through the city of Maple Valley here in the last year or so, you've probably seen the motor officer we hired. I know that he's very famous or infamous, depending on your point of view. But we've been excited to have that asset here in the city again. We're down to 3 reserves. We did have 4 at one time. The 4th reserve was a former full-time commission deputy. And because of our staffing level and his past history with us, he decided to come back full-time. Grateful for King County to bring him back. Not so grateful for us because the reserves here in Maple Valley actually do a lot of assistance with us with our public events. We currently have 12 patrol officers, FTEs, 4 for day shift, 4 for swing shift, 4 for graveyard. Because of the staffing shortage right now, it's 3, 4, and 3. Frozen. Technical difficulties. I'm pretty good at that. Police service overview. So we are a fully functional police agency, even though we're contracted from the sheriff's office. We do our active patrol, proactive patrol, which means that my guys are expected to go out there and do traffic enforcement, to do business checks, and all the normal things that police officers do. We have 2 electric dual sport motorcycles that we bought a few years ago. They are used primarily during the summertime to do trail patrol. We have a few of my officers that are motorcycle endorsed, so they get the bikes out during the summertime. Kids seem to love them, and it actually helps us give us like a force multiplier for us to get out there and get out amongst the community, especially during the parks when the parks get full during the summertime. We do have a neighborhood and business watch outreach program. Currently, that has been assigned to one of my detectives. I have 3, like I said, 3 detectives within the city of Maple Valley. One of those does that business outreach for me. I would, in the future, we would like to look at another FTE that would do like a retail theft or retail mitigation theft program along with the storefront officer, but we are not there yet. We have a fantastic partnership with the Tahoma School District. We have a school resource officer, Deputy Sesto, who is assigned to the Tahoma School District. And he curates that partnership with us and the school district, and helps give those kids in the school district that point of view of an officer other than the worst day of their life, to build those relationships with these kids. We have an award-winning, fantastic Explorer program within the city. I'm very proud of it. These kids work really, really hard. If you ever go to any of the events within the city, you'll see our Explorers out there. They do a lot of the traffic control. They walk around, they hand out a lot of our stickers, and do a lot of the community service events that we have here in the city. And on top of that, it prepares these kids for life. A lot of these kids come in thinking they want to be in law enforcement. Some of them do. We have 3 former Explorers that actually work in the city now as full-time commissioned officers. But there's other kids that go through this program that wind up in all different kinds of walks of life, Mayor. So the program is fantastic. We love it, and we love the fact that the city of Maple Valley supports it very well. Citizens Police Academy, that's a partnership that we have with both King County and the city of Covington. We'll talk about it more later. We actually just completed one. It was super successful. Annual events, as the city manager talked about, the city of Maple Valley loves their community events. We support all of them. The last time I checked, we support 19 separate community events within the city of Maple Valley annually. Crime stats, yes, that's very, very small, but these are the crime stats for the first half, or the first 3-ish months of 2023. Compared to last year, a lot of our property crime stats have gone down. Green is good for us, red not so much. But the ones that fall under a lot of our crime against property are improving. I credit that to a reorganization of how our detectives do their work. In years past, we had one detective that did criminal investigations, and the other 2 did like a neighborhood enforcement team, which would be more like drug crime. Because of the Blake decision, we decided to reorganize how they did it. So we combined all 3 into a 1 detective unit that does a combination of CID. So when we have a problem within the city of Maple Valley, all three of my detectives can focus on it at one time. And we partnership with Covington for different cases because like that was mentioned earlier, our folks that like to get involved with the criminal justice system do not recognize city boundaries. So we deal with a lot of folks across the lines. And I'll hand it over to my counterpart.
Thank you. Sorry, we'll get this figured out. Okay. Just to give you an idea of our Covington police staffing, we have 18 FTEs. We had 17. We added one this year, a detective position. We're in the process of conducting interviews for that position, which would bring us up to 2 detectives. We have a patrol admin sergeant, which we're holding as a vacancy, which most of that work falls on me. A traffic officer, school resource officer, which is also vacant, and then 12 patrol officers. Just today, I got to add another one temporarily, so I have a full set of patrol officers at 12. So yay. That's nice. We've been running too short for several months. So we now are down to 3 vacancies, but they have told me that might change and go back up to 4 or whatever. So it's kind of fluid with the sheriff's office and their ability to provide us the people we need. Our property crimes or trends is mostly in property crimes for Covington, which you can kind of see the same thing occurring in Maple Valley. Most of our crime occurs at a business. So we pulled all of the business addresses, queried that against our crimes and where they occur, and then found that it was about 60%. So we've been doing shoplift emphasis where we have double staffing days, which are 3 days a month, and we use those days to do an emphasis with the retailer who provides loss prevention. Their loss prevention tells us that there's a crime occurring, and then we make an arrest. And if appropriate, book. There are times we don't. So the guy stealing a sandwich, probably not too interested in taking him to jail unless he like fights or does something else like that. On some of these, we are recovering up to $10,000 a day if you factor it out over the time their business is open. And if you look at how many retailers are in the city, that's a substantial amount of theft that occurs, and we're trying to put a dent in that. Recently, some of our emphasis have come, we had one that came up dry with Kohl's. I don't know if that's a good thing, where maybe they couldn't find them, or maybe just nobody decided to steal that day. I don't know. We'll be doing another one with them fairly soon. We've had some other ones where we're just seeing a little bit of a drop in those numbers. So maybe we're doing something that works. I can take credit. Why not? It's been working out. It's been getting a little bit better because we're making less arrests and less is being stolen. So I don't like, and we have that crime drop here, which you'll see in a second. You can see our crime, the sheer numbers for the first 4 months of the year. That's up there, and I'm going to breeze through those because they're quick. You'll see that most of our crime is property crime. Okay, so our trend compared to 2022 is our property crimes are down. And as the Chief Collins said, green is good, red's bad. We are seeing a little bit more crimes against persons, and most of those have been domestic violence incidents. So violation of a no contact or protection order, which is there on the bottom left. We've had a substantial increase, but those are almost all domestic violence incidents, which in some manner I don't have a whole lot of control over, but they are occurring. So, and that kind of plays into the mental health issues that Councilmember Dunn was talking about. I'll just note this too, the drug offenses, those are not possession cases. Those are dealing cases at this point because we can't make or effect an effective arrest on possession cases. So we haven't really been doing those. And I expect once the law changes, we will have a lot more of those because we have a lot of cases where we recover drugs, put them in as for evidence for disposal because we can't refer prosecution. I'll keep going. We did a community cabinet with the city of Maple Valley and unincorporated King County. The 3 cities partnered together on that. Maple Valley did a lot of the heavy lifting on that and provided most of the facility space where we brought in citizens from each of those areas, and they got to kind of learn what we do as police officers out in the community. So they got to see a pit maneuver where you drive up behind a car, you spin it around so that it disables the car momentarily, and then you can make an arrest. They got to watch a canine track. They got to shoot firearms. They got to see a whole host of things that we do here in the sheriff's office and in each of the cities. So, and I know we were going to talk about cooperative things that we've been doing. We've been working together on some investigations. We had an issue in Covington that Maple Valley's been helping out with a drug house. We don't have the detective capacity to work those. I know how to work them, but we don't have the capacity to do it. Maple Valley's been doing some of the work behind the scenes on that. That drug problem bleeds into all of our cities, so it is something that we should tackle together. And we've made an arrest already, but we may make more in the future. So that's one thing we've been doing. Another thing that we've been doing together was Shop at the Top. Great event. We hosted at Walmart. That's been fantastic for bringing kids in, providing them some funds to buy Christmas presents, and then they leave with Christmas presents and get that experience with a police officer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, the only thing I'd add, with Community Academy is generally we cap that at 25 participants. This year we opened it up, and I believe by the time we finished, we wound up with 28, and that's because I told them to stop accepting applications. We hadn't done it in a few years. Super popular, and we're excited to actually host another one next year. Questions?
Well, is Black Diamond going to do something?
Yeah. Bill's here.
I think we'll kind of wait till we're done with all three, and then we'll ask questions to all three of the representatives.
So I'm Corporal Regal. I got voluntold to come in and do the presentation tonight. So I'm happy to be here. This is rarefied air for me. So our chief's message is kind of pointing out this a brief overview of kind of what we did in 2022 and where we're headed. Introduce our department, just kind of provide an idea of what we accomplished over the year. Got a budget of $3.5 million, which is something that's always kind of staggering to me as just a regular officer guy, how much money is in the police department. But with that money, I think we've done a really good job of spending our dollars wisely. One of the things we accomplished in 2022 that's really been significant for us is, this is not in the order I thought it was going to be in, adding some members to our department. We were working extremely short-staffed for a couple of years, and we've added 4 people in 2022 and the first part of 2023. And the exciting thing about it for me, as somebody who's been here for a little while, is that they're all young people. They're in their 20s and early 30s and choosing to make this a career. So we've experienced a great deal of new youthful energy coming into our department, and it's helped get some of us old people fired up again. So we're currently working with the chief commander. We have 1 sergeant and 1 unfilled sergeant's position. We also added in 2022, effective to start in 2023, 2 corporal positions to kind of backstop as intermediate supervisors, and then our regular patrol officers. We have 1 vacancy left, so we're still looking for 1 more person, but it's been a huge change just having the additional people, having them be young people who've just gone through the academy, bringing new ideas and new energy to the department. So one of the things we focus on at our department, we have the luxury in Black Diamond of not being call driven. We don't get a lot of calls for service. We're not constantly bouncing from one call to another, to another, to another. It allows us to take the time during a regular patrol shift to really interact with the community. So we try and do, in addition to scheduled events, trunk or treats, National Night Out, and our DARE program, on every patrol shift, we have a great opportunity to get out and just interact with the community members. 2022 saw some changes for us in training. There's been some legislatively required training that's been introduced. Some of that we've been able to kind of get ahead of. One thing that we accomplished in 2022 that was made a huge difference for us with having these new people come on is we created a 40-hour curriculum for post-BLEA training for our people coming out of the academy before we put them on field training. They're now going through 40 hours of in-service training with our department. It's scenario-based training, space decision-making, de-escalation, CIT training. And each and every one of our brand new employees is going through that now. And so they're getting an additional 40 hours on top of what they're receiving at the academy before we even start their 4-month FTO training. We sent an officer to the 80-hour patrol tactics instructor course. The patrol tactics is going to be required training. It's de-escalation training, communications training, and crisis intervention team training. And so we sent one officer there, so we have an in-house instructor. We can start putting our people through that training without having to wait for classes being run by another department. We accomplished, started a partnership with Enumclaw where we're doing our taser and de-escalation training with them. So that's a day-long event where we're sending officers down there to participate in hands-on scenario-based training involving less lethal taser and de-escalation techniques. We run a basic Marine law enforcement academy, sent everybody to the 40-hour training for operation of a boat because we have a lake. I say we have a boat. We don't. It sank last year. That boat is no more. It sank twice. And after the second time we gave up, and we do have a new one coming. Fingers crossed, it should be here by the middle of this summer. And so we will be able to get back on having a Marine Patrol, somebody out on the lake all day long. And then last but not least, we've sent 3 or 4 people through first level supervision and other leadership courses throughout the year. So training's been a big part of last year. Some of the stats for our specialty units, commercial vehicle and traffic enforcement. Those are some big numbers, but we do have a dedicated traffic unit who is doing commercial inspections, and he's handing out some traffic tickets. We're famous for it, but the Major Crimes Task Force is a coalition of small police agencies task force. It provides assistance with smaller departments if they have a significant event or an investigation where they don't have on-hand detectives or manpower to deal with investigations. We have 2 members of our department are on the task force, so they deploy to any one of those 12 agencies that might have a large investigation of a serious crime and they need assistance with detective work or with manpower for those investigations. We instituted body-worn cameras in 2022. That was a kind of a big change for us. It was, I feel really grateful for the size of our department that we were able to implement that program. Having been running it for a year now, I can say it's the greatest thing ever. It's not only is it good for transparency in how we operate as law enforcement officers, it is an amazing help for training. And when you can sit back and look at your call and see what it looked like in person, it's a great help for us in that. So it's been a great program. I tried to fix this slide. These are really teeny tiny stat numbers. If you could see them and read them, you would see we had about 1,800 calls for service last year, and that resulted in about 980 case reports generated. When you compare that to our traffic stops and infractions, we had almost 2,600 traffic stops and infractions. We don't get a lot of calls for service. A lot of our law enforcement activity is based on traffic stops and proactive interactions. Some other accomplishments, we received an award from Lexipol. It's a policy program. We use that to develop our department policy manual. We received a grant for a gym, $26,000 of equipment put in for our gym that allows city employees to work out, keep themselves healthy physically and healthy mentally. And any questions for Black Diamond?
Okay, so this be kind of, any councilors have any questions for Salsa here? Okay, when they went to the Enumclaw Expo, were you there when they got using the tasers, Mayor Pro Tem Didi? Just want to curious. No. Okay, that's why I'm curious. Councilor.
Thank you. I just wanted to compliment our corporal. I had a chance to participate in some of this training he was talking about with our officers before they even start going out in the field. And so, we were given scenarios and
She was a very good DUI.
I was a real. Yeah.
Were you coming from Boots?
Well, you can't give all the secrets. But what I loved about watching it, and so I share this because if in your respective cities, or for those from Black Diamond who haven't done it yet, anytime you have an opportunity to receive an invitation and participate in any of the training, do it. I loved watching how Corporal, walked the officers through the scenario afterwards in terms of how they responded, how they reacted, got them thinking about it differently. And it's that kind of muscle memory that we want them building as they're learning these skills. So I just really applaud you for what you've developed, and feel really fortunate we have it in our community.
I kind of make it quick because we're way over our time right now. So anybody else over here?
Thank you. Really quick question, I think, for the chief of police in Covington. But when we were hearing about the training for youth, I heard a bit about firearms training, and I was curious about any sort of potential background checks or anything like that that the youth in the programs would be doing before they embark on anything that might involve a firearm.
Yes, they do run a background check. And I think this is for the community. That was for adults. So we would not put children in firearms generally. That's usually a bad idea. You'd want their parent there to do that for them. So, and they do run background checks and check to make sure they're legally allowed to possess them and legally be around them. So that help? All right.
Oh, no, not. Oh, yeah. Anybody else have any questions before I ask my 2 questions? Okay, so years ago, is a couple times a year, the 3 organizations would do like a DUI emphasis on the same night. They get funding from the traffic commission and stuff like that. They might do a click it or ticket during the day or something like that. And it kind of showed a large presence in the area. So have the 3 organizations talked at all about kind of getting back into that? Because I know that COVID kind of threw all that out, and we got command change in a couple departments and stuff like that. But I know it meant a lot for city managers that are kind of paying attention, and the mayor is it showed a pretty strong presence. And if you ever watched, they thought like there was an army out here for one day trying to get DUIs and stuff like that. So I would highly recommend that the city managers and you guys can kind of get together and kind of maybe once or twice a year would be really good. So can we kind of do a consensus on that? If all the electeds feel kind of that way, we kind of do that. So kind of thumbs up. It's twice a year. They used to do an emphasis, like all 3 departments would do like a DUI emphasis, driving under the influence. And then the next, maybe a couple months later in the summer, they would do a distracted driving emphasis, but they do it on the same day and time so that people kind of see a strong presence out there. So I think it'd be kind of good. And then next year, Black Diamond will be hosting, so we can ask for a follow-up on that, see how that worked. So we'll have a follow-up on them on that. So all the council members and mayors, pro tems and deputy mayors and mayors okay with that?
County Sheriff's approval.
I think we can work with the sheriff on that. She's actually pretty pro that kind of community involvement, stuff like that. So and we can meet with her. So, okay. So I think if there's any objections to that, chip us an email. That it worked out really good. It's sent a pretty strong message to our community. So, and then I just want to say on behalf of us, public safety is our #1 responsibility. And thank you very much, because we've been recognized as all 3 cities have been recognized as some of the safest cities to live in. It's some of the reasons they move here is because they feel safe and they feel like they belong. And so you guys do a really good job of making sure people do that. So can we give the 3 of them a big round of applause? If you could let Chief Kimbler know, I'll be contacting her later about a microwave, but we'll talk later about that. Okay, we are way over our time, 15 minutes. If anybody needs to leave for any reasons for childcare, totally understand that, but we do have some, we're gonna get a quick update on some mental health issues. So if we can move on to that. So, yep, the city manager was I kind of let them run this one, so I don't know who's going first or what's going on there, so. And do you want questions during or after your presentation?
Doesn't matter to me, whatever.
Okay, so if any council members, mayors, or deputy mayors have any questions, just
Darren?
So I'm Darren Patterson. I'm here to tell you about our community care specialist program in the city of Covington. So the community care specialist program is similar to that of, if you've heard the term co-responder, in that it collaborates our response with requests for service from law enforcement, community partners, or other community members to proactively address certain engrossed risk areas. And as you can see, some of those, this is not all encompassing list, but housing and shelter, mental health and addiction, correctional reentry, intimate and domestic partner violence, insufficient elder care, youth and family conflict, child care assistance, and non-emergent essential needs. So the theory behind this and what we've been trying to build is in line with strain theory, and particular Robert Agnew's general strain theory, which is that it's something that is experienced when a person fails to achieve a positively valued goal through traditional pro-social means, such as the ability to pay rent through legal employment. So I've kind of used the example in times that I've taught this before, like maybe somebody working at like a local retail store, Walmart, for instance, works full-time, and maybe isn't able to, his rent goes up and maybe isn't able to meet his full needs. What we see, the research shows, is that this results in antisocial ideation or criminal coping that Travis Hershey calls the stake in conformity. It's kind of like what drives a lot of people from making the decision against coping in an antisocial manner when it comes to certain crises that are experienced. And the research goes on to show that with the introduction of certain negatively valued stimulus, like in our example, the loss of a job, subjects become significantly more likely to react in a criminal or antisocial manner when sufficient coping mechanisms are not in place. And so this is kind of principal to our model, and in particular, the aspect of coping mechanisms and what we really want to be targeting in terms of being purposeful in the allocation and of resources that we provide. So with that theory in mind, I took some of the stats just from 2023 from the 211 needs report. So when people call and inquire about different resources, they collect that information in terms of what they're asking about by zip code. And so I took that and I compared it with the property crime from KCSO in Covington, and did a correlation test on it to observe that there was a strong positive relationship between the calls made to 211 for services and the property crime rate, meaning that as calls for 211 for resources go up, the property crime goes along with it. And so on that topic, focusing particularly on unmet needs, this is 211 records the information when somebody has an inquiry for services, and also collects and records when they're unable to meet those needs. And so kind of going along with those engrossed risk areas, this is kind of where we've been trying to target some of those resources. And as you can see, the need is increasing as it pertains to housing and shelter, and these topic areas. Similarly, mental health, we've seen increases in crisis intervention and suicide and substance abuse, as was discussed earlier, and also inquiries that are going unmet for food and various essential needs here. And so how do you go about addressing this? It's through establishing, ma'am. Go ahead.
The previous chart, sorry, it's hard for me to look at it and ask my question towards the microphone. Could you describe a little bit? I know you said we can see it's increasing, but given that it's kind of a spreadsheet, which particular, is it the percent unmet that we're looking at in this?
Yeah, so what particularly relevant and kind of the areas we want to focus on is around the unmet needs. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping to show here, is that it's been increasing, and
So there were 5 calls representing 3.9% of total calls? Like, what are these numbers? If you could just explain one line, that would be amazing for me.
So these are for which one? I'm sorry.
Just any row.
Okay, so for like food and delivery, for instance, these are requests for service that are made percentage, and then these are the amount of those that went unmet when they inquired.
So they weren't able
Correct.
to us to resolve it and based on the call.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So how do we go about kind of approaching this? It's a collaborative response by building strategic partnerships with various community-based organizations. I just listed a few. The Recovery Navigator Program, it's a peer specialist program where they'll come out and respond and have their peer specialists who have past or prior experience help work with people who may have substance use disorder concerns and help coordinate their entry into outpatient or inpatient programming. The Salvation Army Street Team is another example. They come out and conduct outreach and help working with people to provide various resources towards their essential needs. Obviously, the Sheriff's Department, they're kind of the backbone of the program and supporting us. They've been very gracious and working to build that partnership. And then Gelada is a program and a software build that I've been trying to, because a lot of what you see is the siloization of a lot of these organizations that are providing these services, but kind of operating in their own independent silos. So this software allows agency partners from different disciplines to be able to communicate in and around the care coordination of the folks we're interacting with and responding to. So in theory, this can tap into the dispatch. We can co-respond alongside with the Sheriff's Department and collect the information, perform a needs assessment, refer to one of these agencies internally within this. The Sheriff's Department, the agency we're referring to, can observe it and see the activity and the disposition. And also important, it collects a whole host of very valuable analytics to be able to answer a lot of questions that long-term we'll be looking at evaluating. So these are just preliminary figures based on the activities that we've experienced. It was based on the training build of our software prior to the implementation of the program. It's kind of not really terribly surprising. A lot of the activity has been in and around making a lot of phone calls to help coordinate services. Kind of going back to that point of just, agencies being siloed and trying to streamline that process. And so that's basically what we've been experiencing. Here, there's been a kind of a combination between in-person interactions and then also over the phone interactions, helping to coordinate and working with people to get them connected to resources. We've been largely successful helping to get people into housing situations or helping to connect them with different resources, and just continuing to build on it and looking at different other strategic partners to help improve this process. And some demographics and the kind of between the mostly male and then also the age demographics, which is consistent with the life course age crime curve, which is a bimodal distribution. So, and let's see. And the race, this again, it's built on a training build, so we weren't able to operationalize everything into it as of this point, but this is kind of a snapshot of what we've been recording. And just a quote I want to throw in there that just towards the proverb of a rose growing out of a concrete. Appreciated. So.
Hey, is that the inner slide? Okay, well, thank you very much for presenting to us. If we make email to the councils, that would be great because we're going to run a little time here. So we'll email it, and please, if anybody has any questions, contact the city manager for Covington, and then he'll direct anybody that has questions. I'm going to follow up on one question a little later, so I'll email Regan and get that to you. So pretty good impressive program there. Okay, who's next?
Hi there, I'm Sarah Stratton. I'm the Executive Director at Rainier Foothills Wellness Foundation. And Black Diamond asked us to come tonight and talk about what we are doing to address the mental health crisis in Black Diamond and surrounding communities. I'll introduce Jessica Idens. She's kind of person in charge. She's doing the actual work on the ground, doing the heavy lifting. So our program has kind of been in the works since 2018. Back in 2018, Greta, who you'll hear from next, who's here with Maple Valley tonight, used to work with Rainier Foothills Wellness. And if I didn't mention it, we're a 501c3. Our office is downtown Enumclaw, but we serve Black Diamond, unincorporated South King County, and then also into Pierce County as well. Greta in 2018 partnered with Enumclaw School District, which if you're not familiar, Black Diamond is part of Enumclaw School District, focusing on middle school students to see what the greatest areas of need were. And coming out of that, what we took from that needs assessment was that by far the greatest area of need was readily available, easily accessible mental health support for middle school and high school students as well. In our area, we have some outside resources that could occasionally go to the school and provide support if needed. But for the most part, students who were identified as having a mental health need were kind of falling through the cracks because they would get referred to these regionally based service providers and they would get lost in the regional referral system and sometimes go months before being seen, sometimes never be contacted again. Those were the most extreme cases, but that was definitely a need. Staff at the schools who responded to the needs assessment said that transportation, I think I have this stat in here, over 50% of staff who responded said that transportation was a limit, a barrier to accessing services, and then just needing that parent support to get them out during school hours, taking them out of school, getting them to therapy or whatever service level they might need. Some just highlights from this needs assessment is that 10% of sixth graders reported having seriously considered suicide. That was back in 2018. I can assure you it's higher post-pandemic. 38% of gay and lesbian students reported to have considered suicide, with 25% of them saying that they had attempted. As a reminder, this was focusing on middle school students. So what we took from this needs assessment is we need to break down the barriers that are preventing these students from getting the support that they need. So what made sense to us was to put mental health counseling support services on campus during school hours, free of charge. So students in need didn't have to navigate the insurance process. They didn't need to rely on outside transportation. It was all available to them during their school day. The problem was funding. Enumclaw School District does not, especially didn't then, back when we did this assessment, meet funding, demographic requirements and free and reduced lunch requirements for most of the funding opportunities available. So we sat on this for a few years, and then some different opportunities came our way. City of Enumclaw offered some funding, and then Black Diamond very quickly unanimously jumped on board and offered to help fund the program as well. So we are finishing our second year. Here's some of our funding partners here. We are finishing our second year of having a team of licensed mental health counselors in our schools. The school district has given us private counseling space at both middle school campuses as well as Enumclaw High School. Our first year, which was the 21-22 school year, was kind of a pilot. We started small and it was a huge success. We started with 2 FTE equivalents. So we have 1 full-time counselor at the high school, and then both middle schools each had a half-time counselor. And how the referral system typically works, it's a little bit different from school to school, but the student is identified as having a need. Typically that's by a staff person, a behavioral intervention staff person, maybe their school guidance counselor, and then they refer them to our team of counselors for a needs assessment, and then typically either ongoing one-on-one therapy, or we also do groups as well. And also gen ed in the health classes, we're providing awareness that just kind of, well, Jessica can go into that, but it's been great for not only taking away the stigma around mental health, but also it's kind of an invitation for kids who quietly, secretly need that support to speak up and say, okay, I do want your services. This is just a recap of our first year, our first pilot program. We served 275 students. That's not in one-on-one counseling only. That's one-on-one, that's group therapy. It's some of the gen ed programming, and then also just some case management. Sometimes a student is referred to us, and Jessica and the team find that they don't actually need mental health therapy. They might actually just need to figure out where to get their meal that night, or some dry shoes. And so that's counted in the 275 as well. But 139 students in our first year did receive ongoing one-on-one therapy free of charge during their school day. School attendance of those students who we were seeing in our program improved by 45%. And then 74, at the end of last school year, we surveyed the students in our program, and 74% of them said that their therapy has helped them and or decreased their symptoms. A few more highlights from the year: 100% retention rate. So we didn't have one student drop out of the program, say, okay, I don't need this anymore. They stuck with it until either they graduated, or maybe our counseling team said, you know what, you've healed past this, but I think we can pare down your services. We also, what I didn't include on this, but what we're probably most proud of, is that not one student who's been referred to us has not been seen, has not received some level of support. And going back to that, the situation around our original needs assessment, they were being referred and then never actually being reached. And so to be able to reach 100% of them without just making it easy for them and their families has felt like a big win. So given the success of the pilot program, we were able to scale it for this current school year. We were able to add a 0.5 FTE. So we have, let's see, it's half-time counselors at each of the middle schools and 1.5 at the high school, I believe. We are seeing 178 students in individual and or group therapy. That does not include any of the gen ed programming or case management. So in our pilot program, we reached capacity by November. The program launched in September, and we reached capacity by November and started a wait list, which those on the wait list were still getting some level of support, but not as in-depth. And then because of the expanded programming this year and the increased funding, we were able to go till January without adding anyone to a wait list. So that was another win. Let's see, I think I'm going to keep it short for you guys. So I'm going to let Jessica, again, she's the one, I get to work in the office and find the funding and build the partnerships, but Jessica gets to do the actual work. So I'll let her talk about what it is that they're actually seeing and kind of the source of some of the issues. And I'll give you a hint, it did not all stem from the pandemic.
Yeah, that's the first one we wanted to know. So first of all, it's really cool that I get to stand here and you guys talk abstractly about donating money or this mental health, let's do this program. And so I just want to take a minute to be like, I'm on the receiving end. I get to be in the room with these kids and I get to say there's no barriers. There's no cost. Come in my office. You're crying. Let me help you. So I just want you guys to know that these talks matter and it's so appreciated. I came from community mental health, so I've been around the block. I know all the barriers. So this is just an amazing program, and go Sarah, go Black Diamond. Yeah. So anyways, just breaking this down, I think when we talk mental health, we get this idea of a little anxiety or a little depression. And so the way that we describe our program is that we treat diagnosable conditions. So if a kid is a little bit nervous for a test, they're going to the school counselor. If a kid is paralyzed or having a panic attack in the bathroom and can't articulate anything, they're coming to us. We are really treating the clinically relevant kids because we need to triage. The need is so large that we're not spending our time dealing with the lighter kids. We're really digging in, and the more we're digging, the more we're finding the kids are there and they're just not being reached. And so this goes beyond just meeting with the kids. It goes into the teachers, admin, the other school counselors. We're really being a resource for them and helping them understand where they need to be and how they can meet more kids. And so this is truly a systemic approach to the mental health program or the mental health crisis that we're dealing with. And so just to kind of go through, like, we're seeing kids with diagnosable PTSD situations, depression, anxiety. You can see kind of all the lovely charts at our middle schools and our high school. I think the biggest one that I really want you guys to look at is the substance abuse and just how many kids are admitting to having problems. So the substance use is not just like, yeah, I drink at parties. These are the kids that are like, I think I have an issue, or there's addiction in the family. And so when we're talking about substance abuse problems, like it's here and the kids are identifying it and struggling. And so that's another area just on the side, like if there's ever money for substance abuse treatment, it's needed. It's drastically needed, and it's scary that we can't reach them all. These are some of we do weekly wins for my team on Wednesdays. What went well? It's a really easy job to get discouraged. The students that we're working with are really making the small steps every day. I came to school. I didn't have a panic attack. I was able to confront this person. I was able to break up with this person that was treating me poorly. I got connected to Plateau Outreach in town and they got me food stamps. Like, the bar is very different for the kids that we're seeing from the larger community. And so these are just some of the testimonials that we have. I'm glad that you guys will get this emailed to you so you can review it. But yeah, I think that's about it. So a few more of our wins. But I think the end of it is really the kids are walking away with a sense of the community cares about them. We are very strong. Like, we're not part of the school. We are a hug from the community. People in Black Diamond, people in Enumclaw wanted this program, and we're here for you. And that's really cool. That's awesome for me to be able to sit with kids and say, the adults in your community care about you enough that I'm here for you. What can I do for you? So thanks for your time. Thanks for the money.
Well, thank you very much. And any council members or mayor pro tems or deputy mayors or mayors, email Mayor Benson or Brenda, and we can probably get that presentation sent to you. So that'd be great. So thank you very much. I will be emailing you to get that. I want to see those numbers.
All right. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Now, our last presentation of the evening. I'll try not to keep everyone here too long. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about my role with Maple Valley. I'm Greta Huntley, and I'm the Community Resource Coordinator. So my position was created about 3 years ago as a pilot program. It was a partnership between the city and Tahoma School District. It was really created to meet this growing need for better mental health care in our community by bringing resources, awareness, education programs into the communities and also our schools to support overall wellness, including mental health, substance abuse prevention, and equity. So it's this great partnership between Tahoma School District and the City of Maple Valley. I work very closely with the district wellness coordinator, Liz Seibert. She's not here tonight, but she and I are partners in all of this work together. So I'm going to share a little bit about my role, first looking at our work directly in the schools with our student programs, and then looking at our general community programs, and then where those two overlap. So there's a lot of overlap. So first looking at our student programs, we have a really similar model to what Sarah and Jessica were sharing about the work in Enumclaw and Black Diamond. We partner in Maple Valley with Thrive Counseling, and we have been able to fund mental health therapists in each of our middle schools for 1 day a week. So this is certainly an area that we hope to grow. Immediately, we're booked up with wait lists, and it's certainly showing a need for more work here. So this is something that we're looking into expanding our partnership. We're also able to use some of our financial aid funding for students who qualify under McKinney-Vento. So students who are experiencing homelessness or at risk of experiencing homelessness with a financial need. And so for our elementary students who need mental health services, we're able to use some of that funding to get them connected with mental health resources in our community. We also fund a really cool partnership program with Taproot Theater that brings in social and emotional performances that are really well received. It's a highlight for the elementary every winter. And this year we are funding some really cool programs in our elementary schools called Roots of Empathy. It is a social emotional curriculum that brings in a volunteer parent with a newborn baby. So it's starting at 3 months, so 3 to 6 months at the beginning of the year, and the mother and child come to the classroom once a month for the entirety of the school year, and it's all about building empathy. It's a really powerful program. I happen to do this with my daughter, who's now 8 years old, and it was like a really highlight of my life. And then, of course, our school district takes a summer break. Our school counselors have a well-deserved break in the summer, and my position is year-round. So we're able to partner with the school district to make sure that families who need resources, who reach out for help over those summer months, are able to get help. And then looking at our community programs, our mental health first aid program is really robust here. We partner with a local trainer. She offers regular community virtual and in-person mental health first aid trainings. We have an adult program and a youth focused program. And we also have a Kindness Connects campaign that is every fall, kicking off late October at our harvest market and going through the month of November. It's all focused on spreading kindness. One of our core messages is you belong here. So really working on instilling that sense of community and inclusion, which is so important. We're working on partnering with other local resource providers like the food bank and the community center to partner together in creating a comprehensive community resource guide. And then, of course, working in a variety of different capacities on community outreach. We facilitate a community services coalition every month with different service providers. I see some of them over here. We're going to be back here in the morning, so you could have brought your sleeping bag. We work with our REACH committee, which is all about equity, inclusion, diversity with city staff, and then also South King County planners focusing on human services in this region of our county. And then our school and community partnerships really focus on these 3 areas of mental health, prevention, and equity. So I'll just quickly give you some highlights of some of the work we've done partnering for community and school events for mental health. We've had suicide prevention speaker in the fall. He was also able to do some in-school assemblies and workshops with students, similar event around social media awareness. In February, we had a huge response to an ADHD community event for parents of students with ADHD, getting them some more support and resources. That had a great response and really identified a real need and a gap. So from that, we were able to work with a parent coach to lead some parent support groups. We just started one a few weeks ago, and then we'll do another round in the fall. I work closely with the Tahoma Behavioral Health Collective, which drives a lot of these mental health events and wellness events, along with the Tahoma School District Crisis Response Team and Wellness Advisory. And this is great timing in the area of prevention. We've heard a lot about the increase in overdoses and the fentanyl issue in our area. And in response to that, we've been working with the Tahoma School District and the Tahoma Behavioral Health Collective to host an event, which is tomorrow night at 6:30 at the high school. It's called Hidden in Plain Sight. We've hired a prevention group out of Issaquah called Influence the Choice, and they create kind of a mock-up of what a typical teenage bedroom might look like with hidden signs of substance use. So they'll walk parents through, educate what to look for in the bedroom, and then also a social media component. So there'll be some education around that, and then community resources. We have a wonderful lineup of different community resources in the areas of substance use and mental health, and then a panel for some Q&A time at the end. So it's going to be an awesome event. I hope many of you will be able to join us. And then looking at the area of equity, we work closely with the Tahoma School District Equity Committee. In March, we were able to host a virtual screening of the film Race to Be Human, all about inclusion and empathy and putting ourselves in other people's lived experiences. And then coming in the fall, we will be working with the school district to bring a poverty simulation to their school and community leaders, so we can kind of experience what it's like for those in our community who are experiencing poverty, to better understand how to meet those needs. So I know that's a lot, just some highlights of areas of focus looking ahead. We really are focusing on removing barriers. Much of what Sarah and Jessica talked about so eloquently, the needs that they're seeing in Enumclaw and Black Diamond, we're seeing here in Tahoma as well. So increasing those mental health services in schools, removing those barriers so students and families are able to get their needs met within the school is so important. And then also looking at how can we expand our community-based mental health services as well. We're always looking to increase and expand our partnerships. I mentioned that comprehensive community resource guide we'll be working on with different community partners. And then of course, funding is, the key to everything, keeping these programs alive. So we're always looking for more sustainable funding sources in an effort to reach those underserved sectors of our community. So that's just a brief snapshot of my work. Thank you for this time.
Well, thank you very much. And if any of you needs information on this, please get a hold of City Manager Laura Philpott or Andrew, then get you the information from Greta. So thank you very much. Can we give all four a big round of applause? It's a topic we need to keep moving forward. We can't let it go. It's a problem in all of our communities. And we can't just put our head in the sand on this topic. It's affecting all of our young people and adults. So we need to have these conversations moving forward. Somebody, could you hand that to Councilor Linda Johnson, please? But don't do anything with it yet. You notice I didn't give it to Black Diamond. Anyways. So we were going to go around. Normally we would go around and close out. I really have a chance to say something, but we are, no, Linda, you're keeping that. We're really way over our time right now, but I want to kind of say a couple of closing comments really quick. Is all 21 of us sitting at this table are making a difference in our communities. We're not sitting out in the parking lots complaining out and stuff like that. We're not on social media, the keyboard warriors. We're actually making a difference. Okay. We're making good policies, allocating funding to those policies, setting future visions, and making sure that all three of our cities are working together, which is extremely important. We are highly recognized in King County and the region because the three of us work very well together. Okay, I can give you tons of examples. Okay, one of the big examples that are coming up is the comprehensive plans coming up. Staff is already talking to each other about it. So we're working on that quite a bit in the next 2 years. So every single one of us in this room makes a difference in our community. So please know you're appreciated and you mean a lot to your communities. In closing really quick, do you have anything you want to say? Anything you want to say? Closing really quick, I just want to make sure that, we get to stay up late and stuff like that, but I want to say thank you to the staff and everybody in the audience. So if you give a round of applause to the staff. You guys make a big difference too. Black Diamond has the honor of hosting this next year. So look forward to that. And after the Black Diamond Bakery's got plenty of room. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, yeah. In recognition of 20 years of service to the city of Maple Valley, Councilmember Linda Johnson gets to adjourn us today. So she's been here when they first started this 15 years ago, and we're going to keep it going for a long time. But Councilor Johnson, thank you very much for being one of the pioneers to start this Tri-City meeting. So thank you very much. So when you're ready, if you want to go in an hour, you can, but when you're ready, just kind of. Okay, we're adjourned. Stay safe.